South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/care. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expect. That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgent care.
Chasing our hearts till we end up falling. Young and alive, we were runaways in a wasted summer. Chemicals in a foreign car. We took a moment, made it last forever. We found love laying under the stars. Made in July in a wasted summer.
You're listening to the South Coast Gatemen Pregame Live here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. I'm Connor Federico. Jacob Toby and Sam Corman will be joining us shortly. They'll have the game call tonight, but right now I'm with Matt Feld, the team's beat writer, and he has been tracking the MLB draft for the past 2 or 3 days now, looking at all the former Gatemen who have been taken. Matt, you've been here a year or two now. What do you think of all these players getting taken? I mean, who's the future stars that have come out of these Gatemen organizations?
Yeah, pretty impressive couple of days for the Wareham Gatemen. Headlining it all, of course, is Gavin Sheets, the first baseman from Wake Forest. Sheets had a terrific year for the Deacons. He led the country in RBIs with 81 heading into the postseason. Last summer up the Cape, he hit 280 in a short time up here, became a doubles machine, had power to the opposite field, and he was someone right away you could tell was going to be special and had the potential to play at the next level. He was taken by the White Sox in the second round. And you look at also other stars that played for the Gatemen, the LSU middle infield duo of Kramer Robertson and Cole Freeman. Cole Freeman led the league in batting up here, winning the Thurman Munson batting championship, hitting .374. Kramer Robertson played up here 2 years ago and has showcased his talents for the Tigers ever since then. And those three players really were the ones that came out of here, and you knew right away that they were going to have a future potentially in professional baseball in this week's draft, and their selection in the second and fourth rounds respectively really backed that up.
Connor Federico and Matt Feld here for you on South Coast Gatemen Pregame Live. The coaches exchanging lineup cards right now with the umpires. We're going to get the national anthem and game time soon. So we've got the Harbor Hawks and the Gatemen here. One of these teams didn't make the playoffs last season, and it was Hyannis. The Gatemen did have a run into the first round of the playoffs. What are you expecting out of the West Division of the Cape Cod Baseball League this year?
Well, the West Division is always extremely strong. It was the stronger of the two divisions last year, headlined by Harwich, who had a terrific regular seasons, backed up by an outstanding pitching staff. Headlining that pitching staff was Packy Naughton, who was actually selected in the draft yesterday. YD has won the Cape Cod Baseball League Championship 3 years in a row, so they're always the team to beat. They got off to a slow start last year in the regular season, but recovered to have a terrific postseason. And the West is always just known for some terrific pitching, terrific defense. Their league ERA last year was below 2.5. So you know that every time you travel out there, it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be a tough battle. But Harwich and YD continue to be the teams to beat in the West.
All right, so we talked about some former Gatemen earlier. Now we've got a whole new squad here with the exception of Robbie Metz and Brett Canine, who we assume is coming soon after his stint at the College World Series. Whole new group of players. Who's your player to watch for this summer for this Gatemen team?
Well, I think it's actually Nate Fastnod, and Nate's not in the lineup tonight, but he had a terrific freshman season at George Washington, hit above .330, and for a freshman, obviously, in the A-10 and Power 5 conference, that's really impressive. Nate is a terrific defensive shortstop. He played alongside Robbie Metz. They led the country in double plays turn for a duo, which is very impressive. And all in all, Nate, to me, stands out as someone who, while still only 19 years of age, can be a terrific player for the Gatemen.
We're still waiting on first pitch. We're still waiting on the national anthem. Don Sneddon is right out ahead of us, Matt, and this is his first year as the manager of the Gatemen. He's been with the organization a couple of years. He's from Santa Ana College. He's a Hall of Famer out in the state of California. So what do you think that he needs to do to lead this Gatemen to a more successful season rather than they had last year?
Yeah, I remember talking to Gavin Sheets and Joey Bart, who's actually playing for Harwich this year and a catcher at Georgia Tech, who had a terrific season for the Gatemen last summer. And they said one of the biggest things they loved about Don Sneddon last year when he was the hitting coach is how much he really put them to work. There was constant feedback from Coach Sneddon. There was constant preparation. He really drove home, repeating the same drills over and over and over again and turning them into terrific hitters. And I expect that to be the same type of mantra that he follows this summer. Don is someone who requires perfection. He requires precision. And I expect Don will be a terrific head coach for this Gatemen team because of the amount of youth that's on this team. And I think that over time they'll quickly be able to show their potential, especially by the end of the season.
Matt, thank you so much for joining me on this South Coast Gatemen Pregame Live, our first of the season, and it's certainly going to be an exciting year for this Wareham Gatemen team and the rest of the Cape Cod Baseball League. We're going to take a really quick break. We're expecting first pitch and the national anthem to come really soon, and you're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Welcome back to Gatemen Pregame Live. We're just a couple of seconds from first pitch, but first, our nation's national anthem.
Your seminary student at St. John's in Boston will be providing tonight's invocation. Would you please rise for tonight's invocation?
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, source of all good, we know that you are always with us. You have given us baseball to bring joy to our hearts. In a special way, be with us this evening. Bless this event, bless these teams, bless the coaches and all here in attendance. Please grant us a good sense of sportsmanship and help us to always live lives of faith in your Son, hope in your promises, and charity to our neighbors. We ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
And may Almighty God bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you.
We apologize. We are waiting for the start of our national anthem. We just had a little prayer from the local pastors and priests here in the Hyannis community. Always a great way to start off opening day. And it is opening day here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. We've been talking about it here on the South Coast Gatemen pregame for the past half an hour, and we are still waiting on first pitch. Thank you for sticking with us. We know many of you are very excited for the Gatemen season to begin. It is a beautiful day here in Hyannis. Temperatures around 75 degrees right now. The sun is beaming down. Plenty of rain on the Cape over the past 3 or 4 days. It's been on and off in spurts and whatnot, but right now, only sun in the sky. There's some distant clouds, but none that are threatening rain, as it looks like the grounds crew is continuing to put down the foul lines along the first and third base line.
Participants and officials. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the Gatemen Pregame Live. Sorry for waiting on the national anthem and first pitch, but we'll have it very soon. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Everything changes.
Life.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the United States.
Fans, tonight's national anthem will be performed by Lisa Gage. Lisa is a native Cape Codder now living in Barnstable Village. She's a mother of 4 grown children, all graduates of Barnstable High School, and now grandmother to 4 grandsons. She works at Cape Cod Surgical Associates and Fiddlesticks Food Trolley. She's also active in ministry at the Osterville Baptist Church. Will you please welcome Lisa Gage for tonight's national anthem, and at this time, would you please rise, remove your caps, and face the American flag in right center field.
Testing. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, Lisa Gage.
It's only 5 minutes late, but it's finally time for first pitch. Opening day action between the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and your Wareham Gatemen. And now it's time for Jacob Toby and Sam Corman from Scarfile Field. Jacob, take it away.
Thank you, my friend. Again, Jacob Toby alongside Sam Corman will bring you the Wareham starting lineup first. It'll be the DH, Brandon Lockridge out of Troy University. Nick Angelini, the center fielder, bats second out of Bryant. Willie McIver, the third baseman, bats third. Jake Anchia does the catching. He bats fourth. Blake Sable is the first baseman. He bats fifth. Robbie Metz, the returner from 2016. He plays second base. Andy Shattuck in right field bats seventh. John Topa in left field bats eighth. And Ben Baird is the shortstop. He bats ninth. And the defense for Hyannis goes as follows. Brendan Donovan is the third baseman. Tyler Frank at short. Ford Proctor, the returner from 2016, is at second. And Brant Stallings is at first. From left to right in the outfield, Ryan Olenek, Reese Hampton, Robert Newstrom, and Chris Proctor doing the catching for Mr. Ryan Weiss.
Yeah, Ryan Weiss is a solid pitcher. He's coming in here with a temporary contract, so really playing with a chip on his shoulder today, but gets the call here on opening night in the Cape Cod League. A big moment for a guy like Ryan Weiss out of Wright State in Illinois, a South Elgin, Illinois native, and he has that 90 to 93 mile per hour fastball and combines it with a changeup, another off-speed pitch. 2.13 ERA in 88 innings this year at Wright State in the Horizon League. 14 starts and 80 strikeouts for Ryan Weiss, an all-freshman Horizon League player.
And the uniforms for both teams, first Hyannis, it'll be Hyannis players in the white shirts with white pants, blue socks, and orange numbers with the trim. Wareham in their blue shirts, gray pants, blue socks with red numbers. As Weiss is on the mound just having his practice throws real quick as we get set here at McKeon Park. We got a slow start rather here today because the first baseline was a little bit jumbled up, but we got that settled. And we are bringing you Wareham Gatemen Baseball here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Wareham going for their first championship in the Cape Cod Baseball League since 2012. They've been in the Cape Cod League since 1963. And, of course, you have keys to the game. And what do you think those are, Sam Corman?
Well, for me, the key to the game today is to get Mason Feely some run support because, you know, he's probably going to hold Hyannis to, you know, below, 6 or 5 runs, judging by his pedigree. So run support is huge.
Lockridge steps in the DH for Wareham, takes a strike, and the 2017 Cape Cod Baseball League season is underway. The count is 0-1. Lockridge out of Troy, 6'1", 185, bats from the right side. Lockridge swings and pops it foul over our heads. He's quickly down 0-2.
Yeah, every at-bat for Lockridge really important, with some more Gatemen infielders potentially on the way in the next few weeks, and he is on that temporary contract.
Weiss's 0-2 pitch. Curveball framed by the catcher Proctor, just a bit outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Good looking curveball there from Ryan Weiss, just outside.
Weiss's 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled out down the first base line. But the count remains 1-2. Lockridge batted .344 at Troy this year. 6 homers and 39 runs batted in. .396 on base percentage as well. The 1-2. Fastball up and away. Count evens up 2-2.
You mentioned patience at the plate before this game. Important for Gatemen batters to try to extend the count, force this pitcher to throw a lot of pitches.
Weiss's 2-2 pitch. Fastball up and away again. And the count now runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Here we are, already a full count in the first batter of the game. And if Lockridge gets on, they got to be aware, because he's got some speed.
Weiss winds, kicks, and deals. The 3-2. Swung on and fouled back again, and we'll do it again, the 3-2. Pretty good first at-bat here for Brandon Lockridge.
Doing exactly what we needed him to do. Extend the at-bat, make the pitcher work.
Weiss's 3-2 again. Curveball will be taken inside for ball 4, and Lockridge draws the walk to start off the game.
That was another good-looking curveball there by Ryan Weiss, just a little bit inside. Almost had that corner.
The next batter for the Gatemen, the center fielder from Bryant.
The center fielder, Nick Angelini from Bryant. The local product will be up next with Lockridge at first via the walk. Angelini, 5'10", 170, bats from the right side. Weiss now from the stretch, fires his first pitch, swung on a missed fastball, 0-1. Again, no score here at McKeon Park. Jacob Toby alongside Sam Corman. Connor Federico on the pregame, and Claudia Chikamian, our sideline reporter, on hand as well. Check over at first, and diving back safely is Lockridge. Angelini at the plate. Batted .318 with Bryant this year. Had a stellar freshman season. Fastball taken outside. The count even now, 1 ball and 1 strike.
It'll be interesting to see what Lockridge does over here at first. If this count gets a little bit deeper, he might try to steal a base here early in this game.
Lockridge runner at first. 1-1 the count. Curveball taken for a strike by Angelini. Now the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Angelini, the Northeast Conference Rookie of the Year for Bryant. Just a stellar season. 6 homers, 37 runs batted in. They check over at first base again, and diving back safely is Lockridge.
Big tall frame for, that's another pickoff attempt, but big tall frame for the pitcher Weiss. A lot of tall pitchers on this Hyannis roster, over 6'4", 6'5", and that can be tough for a catcher, also tough for a hitter facing that height.
1-2 to Angelini, a curveball just missing a bit high. Now the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Can be very deceptive facing a pitcher with those long arms.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Lockridge at first, no score. Top of the first, fastball away. And the second full count of the game, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nick Angelini working it here at the plate. So Lockridge the runner at first. He drew a walk. Now it is 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch. Runner goes, swung on and missed. Throw down to second base. The tag, he's out.
You know, Lockridge immediately looked and turned towards the catcher about 3/4 the way through that steal, and it kind of slowed him down a bit at the end. He might have had a chance had he not turned and looked towards the catcher. Made a big mistake there.
So Lockridge is gunned down after the swinging strikeout by Nick Angelini. Now it is Willie McIver, the third baseman out of Washington. He'll step up to the plate, and again batting from the right side.
McIver, one of 2 Washington players in this lineup for the Gatemen tonight. Ben Barrett hitting 9th at shortstop.
Now Proctor, the catcher, goes out to talk to Weiss for a quick moment. McIver, actually a catcher. He's at third base today, talking to Head coach Don Snen before the game. They have 3 catchers on the roster. They're going to rotate between first, third, and catching duties. First pitch bounces in the dirt, taken for a ball, 1-0.
Actually, 4 catchers with Kyle Noth
right.
not in the lineup today. But yeah, we have Blake Sabol at first, and we also have Willie McIver at third, so catchers dominating the field.
That one swung on and foul back, hits the light post. Watch out. Count now 1-1.
I was afraid that one was going to land right on top of my head here. Never really know where those are going to go.
1 ball and 1 strike, no score, top of the first, with McIver at the plate. Here comes the pitch. Takes it in the dirt. Ahead of the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. The first game of the Cape Cod Baseball League season, 2017. The 2-1 pitch. Swung on and hit to the second baseman, Ford Proctor. 2-step throw on to first, and he retires the side. So the Gatemen, they draw a walk from Lockridge, but 2 strikeouts in the inning. And now we're headed to a break. No score here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgent-care. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgent-care.
The Down East Lobster Roll combos are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Back here at Judy Walden Scarfile Field in Hyannis, Massachusetts. It's the Wareham Gatemen and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. No score, bottom of the first. And now the Hyannis lineup goes as follows. Reese Hampton, the center fielder, bats 4th. Ford Proctor, the returner from last year, is the second baseman. Tyler Frank at shortstop. Brendan Donovan bats 4th. He's the third baseman. Ryan Olenek, no relation to Kelly Olenek, center on the Boston Celtics. He's in left field, bats 5th. Robert Newstrom in right field. Reed Leonard, the DH. Brent Stallings, the first baseman, bats 8th. Chris Proctor, no relation to Ford Proctor. He's the catcher. He bats 9th. And now the defense for the Wareham Gatemen. Willie McIver is at third. Ben Baird, the shortstop. Robbie Metz, the returner, the 2016 Gatemen All-Star, at second base. And Blake Sable at first. Left to right in the outfield, John Topa, Nick Angelini, Andy Shadid, and Jake Anchia doing the catching for Mason Fioli.
And Reese Hampton, the leadoff hitter here for the Harbor Hawks out of UNC Charlotte. Kind of an interesting story because hit .335 as a freshman and then dropped all the way to .264 last year at Charlotte, the Charlotte native, and was an all-conference USA freshman in 2016. Mason Fioli on the mound. We mentioned that lefty fastball, changeup, slider combo can be deadly, as the fastball changeup can be deceptive, but also the changeup versus slider can be very deceptive.
Reese Hampton steps in the center fielder, takes a high fastball, 1-0. Yeah, Mason Fioli has got a good bite on his slider. He's got that high leg kick. The southpaw deals the 1-0. Swung on and missed, 1-1.
Very high leg kick for Fioli.
Fioli waiting for Hampton to step in. He does so. Here comes the 1-1. Inside as Hampton scoots out of the way, 2-1. No score, bottom of the first. Jacob Toby alongside Sam Corman here in Hyannis, Mass. That ball taken for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Reese Hampton, the center fielder.
Be watching closely to see if Fioli can command those locations on that fastball.
Fioli's 2-2 pitch. Swung and hit right up the middle. Metz couldn't get it at second base, and it's in for a base hit. So Hampton reaches, and that'll bring up Ford Proctor, the second baseman.
It looked like a changeup there from Fioli, and Hampton just waited on it, Just slapped it right back up the middle. No chance for the middle infielders, Metz or Baird.
It'll be Ford Proctor out of Rice. He'll bat from the left side of the plate, the first lefty we've had today. So Hampton is at first. First pitch at the at-bat outside on a fastball, 1-0.
Ford Proctor was the Conference USA Freshman of the Year back in 2016. He has a .323 career average. Also, one of the only returners on this Harbor Hawks roster.
Fioli will go over to first base. Hampton back quickly.
Hit .286 last year here. 40 hits in 37 games for the Harbor Hawks.
Fioli's 1-0. Curveball in for a strike. Nicely done to Proctor. 1 ball and 1 strike with Hampton at first, no score, bottom of the first. Fioli gets the signs from his catcher, Anchia. He deals. Breaking ball up and in. And 2-1.
Yeah, that breaking ball never really had a chance for Fioli. About at the shoulders of the hitter Ford Proctor, so we'll see if he can command those off-speed pitches a little bit better here later in this inning.
Hampton, the runner at first, they check over again. And he's back safely.
Of course, that pickoff attempt move is a lot easier for left-handed pitchers with that fake leg kick. So we'll see if Fioli's pickoff move can catch some runners this season.
The 2-1 pitch is taken for a ball outside. And now 3 balls and 1 strike. Crowd not liking it here. Tom Carey, the home plate umpire tonight. But Carey says it's a strike. Nevertheless, 3 balls and 1 strike. Hampton, the runner at first. And Proctor takes the strike. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And that was an impressive pitch there by Fioli. Fastball, got the outside corner on 3-1. Pinning that location down to a T.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch to Proctor. He swings and hits this one foul behind home plate. And we'll do it again.
Fans, you can keep that foul ball tonight. Thanks our friends at DJ's Family Sports Pub of Hyannis.
Hampton is the runner at first. Proctor the batter. Fioli the 3-2 pitch. And again fouled off down the third base line over the stands, and we'll do the 3-2 again.
Extending the counts here early on Fioli, that's important. Want to try to test this Gatemen bullpen if you're the Hyannis Harbor Hawks early in this game. That's possible.
Fioli's 3-2. Swung and hit out to deep right center field. Ranging over is the center fielder Angelini, and he'll put it away for the first out of the inning.
Routine fly ball, and it's always interesting to see how these college players adapt to using that wood bat coming here to the Cape Cod League. Of course, they have some experience in the past summers using wood bats, but it can be harder to get that power out of it off these impressive pitchers. Got the best pitching competition in any league, in any summer league in the country right here, so limited home runs, limited extra base hits out here in the Cape.
Tyler Frank, the shortstop out of Florida Atlantic, steps in with 1 out and a runner on first. They check back on Hampton at first. He's back safely.
We mentioned Ford Proctor was the Conference USA Freshman of the Year in 2016. Tyler Frank was an all-freshman Conference USA player for Florida Atlantic.
Pitch is swung and hit down the third baseline into the bullpen, but foul.
Some good contact there, though, by Frank, just a little bit too early on that.
0-1 is the count. Hampton still is at first.
Frank started all 57 games this year for Florida Atlantic, a local boy from the Orlando area.
The 0-1 fouled off above us again. Quickly 0-2. We are sitting on the first base line, angled behind home plate here at McKeon Park.
Yeah, it's a good spot to be right here. Got a pretty good angle at balls and strikes.
Frank awaiting the 0-2. Here comes, called strike 3. Fioli fools Frank with the fastball, and he goes down looking, 2 outs.
That's the thing. Tyler Frank may have been thinking off-speed pitch there. But Fioli just blew the fastball by him, froze him in the batter's box in the inside corner.
Brendan Donovan, the third baseman, will step in. Hampton's been winning at first for quite some time. He singled, but then Proctor flew out and Frank struck out. And a first pitch strike thrown by Fioli to Donovan, 0-1.
Brandon Donovan, part of the Sun Belt champion South Alabama Jaguars this year. He's actually from Germany.
0-1 in the dirt, bouncing.
Born in Germany, his family moved to Enterprise, Alabama when he was young, a town on the Florida-Alabama border.
You like to see those international guys come in.
Oh yeah, and I looked it up. There are barely any German players that have made it to the MLB. So
the 1-1 inside, turning away, and it did hit Donovan. So Donovan will go down to first on a hit by pitch. Hampton moves to second, and now first and second for the Harbor Hawks.
Now waiting for the Harbor Hawks. The left fielder from the University of Mississippi.
Believe there's a major leaguer from Germany on the Twins. Can't remember the name. We'll have to check up on that.
Well, there are some I know, that just very few. A lot of German descent, of course, here in America, but none from actual, or very few from born in Germany.
Ryan Olenek, the left fielder, will step in. The right-handed batter swings and fouls one down the right field line, 0-1.
Now, I was hoping Ryan Olenek would have some hair similar to Kelly, but needs about 2 or 3 more months of growth on that before he can get to Olenek's level.
The Celtics' Kelly Olynyk, that is. No relation whatsoever. This Olynyk's out of Mississippi. He swings and hits one to the shortstop Baird. He'll go on to first on the run and retires Olynyk. That will retire this side. It's still no score, 0-0, and we'll be right back here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1991, holds over 600 events nationwide for players ages 8 through 18, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, plus 400 have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Cape Cod Healthcare now offers Cape Cod residents and visitors convenient urgent medical care by emergency room trained physicians at the Fontaine Outpatient Center in Harwich and the Stoneman Outpatient Center in Sandwich. For sore throats and coughs, x-rays and splinting, suturing of lacerations, and much, much more, come to the Stoneman Outpatient Center at 2 Jan Sebastian Drive just off of Exit 2 in Sandwich, or the Fontaine Outpatient Center at 525 Long Pond Drive just off Exit 11 in Harwich. Both have extended evening and weekend hours, and both centers are staffed by emergency room physicians. No appointment or referral is necessary. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
It is 2017 Cape Cod Baseball League season starting here in Hyannis. The Gatemen visiting the Harbor Hawks. And it's going to be a fun season for that. 44 games in total, 22 road games and 22 away games for each team. And with Wareham, we bring you 22 home games with audio and video with WCTV, Wareham Community Television, and road games just the audio. Jake Anchia, the catcher for the Gatemen at a Nova Southeastern, will take to the plate and face Ryan Weiss.
And Chia has a very open stance. Kind of brings that foot up the top of that batter's box right as he starts that swing. Gets him a lot of power.
Weiss deals a strike, 0-1. 0-1 framed by the catcher Proctor, but just missing outside, 1-1.
Jake Anchia from Nova Southeastern College and won a D2 national championship.
The 1-1 is squibbed, and the third baseman, Donovan, will pick it up on the run in the infield, throws out Anchia for the first out of the inning, one gone. There are actually, we're going back to the German MLB player talk, there are actually 6 active German baseball players right now in Major League Baseball.
Are there any like all-stars or players of...
Don't believe so.
Okay. But they are MLB players, so they're really good at baseball. We know that.
Got our statistician on that one quick. He's also our producer.
He's a little bit of everything.
Blake Sable, the first baseman, stepping in for Wareham on the left side, takes a ball.
Blake Sable, another really interesting player for the Gatemen this year because he can play multiple positions, so if injuries or anything arise.
The 1-1 swung on and missed, or rather the 1-0 swung on and missed, 1-1.
If injuries arise, he's a great player you can just kind of place anywhere, corner infield or at catcher. With a lot of catchers in this lineup right now, he's needed at the corners.
Weiss's 1-1 showing bunt was Sable. Pulled it away. Fastball was outside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
And Sable was actually a nationally ranked top 10 nationally ranked catcher coming out of high school, playing at USC. And he's one of the top players in this roster.
Swung on and missed. It'll be 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Way out in front there by Sable. Got to be patient against this Wright State pitcher, Weiss.
2-2 pitch coming. Sable takes it, was pretty close, and now he's worked a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sable 6'4", 200 pounds. Played 40 games this year for Southern California. Batted .250. 2 homers and 16 runs batted him. He's got good athleticism and strength. The 3-2 popped up in the infield. Actually, in foul territory now, the catcher Proctor is under it. He makes the catch, retires Sable, 2 gone.
Sable also can steal bases. He stole 26 bases in 2017 and was caught 12 times. But for a catcher, 26 stolen bases is quite a bit. Pretty impressive stuff there from Sable, but he pops out.
Here comes Robbie Metz, returner for the Gatemen out of George Washington. He plays every position but catcher, and he also pitches. He was a 2016 Cape League All-Star. Swinging on the first pitch, a bouncing grounder to Donovan, throws over to first, and that will retire the side. So 3 up, 3 down. The Gatemen go down here in the top of the second. We're headed to the bottom of the second here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Coca-Cola Bottling of Cape Cod thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap. We appreciate and thank the sponsors who support the Cape League and the 10 teams. Our corporate sponsors are the financial backbone of the league. It is with their support that we are able to preserve our long-standing tradition of providing the best family entertainment here on Cape Cod. On behalf of the visiting team, the Wareham Gatemen, league officers, and the entire Cape League family, we would like to announce and thank our 2017 corporate sponsors. With much appreciation, we recognize the Yawkey Foundation, Chatham Bars Inn, the Fuller Family Foundation, Dunkin' Donuts, Curry College, Cape Cod Healthcare, the 99 Restaurants, Coca-Cola Bottling of Cape Cod, Cape Cod Potato Chips, Friendly's Ice Cream, Baseball Factory, Cape and Island License Plate, 47 Brand, Cape Cod 5 Cents Saving Bank, Stop and Shop, Peapod. We'll be back to you in the next inning for the second half of this outstanding list of loyal sponsors.
No score, bottom of the second here in Hyannis between the Wareham Gatemen and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Robert Newstrom, the right fielder, will lead it off against Mason Fioli, the left-hander. Newstrom from Iowa.
Has a .309 career average out there with the Hawkeyes in the Big Ten. That's a pretty solid average. Also a .486 slugging percentage.
Fioli's first pitch taken outside, ball 1.
and added 55 RBIs this season. Fioli gave up a hit and hit a batter in the first inning. We'll see if he can control his command more here in the second.
1-0 swung on and fouled into the stands, it looks like. Just on the hill down the third baseline. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count.
You can keep that foul ball tonight.
Just got note that the MLB draft has concluded. We'll be going over that on multiple occasions tonight and, of course, over the next couple weeks. The 1-1 pitch from Fioli is swung and rifled into left field. Topa, the left fielder, plays it in quickly, but Newstrom on with a base hit to start off the inning.
Yeah, Fioli's off-speed pitches seem to be getting a little bit whacked around here earlier in this game. If he can control that fastball, that will help control the other pitches as well. Haven't seen too much of the slider early on here.
Reed Leonard, the DH at a Moorhead State, will be the batter as Fioli looks on Newstrom at first. The DH awaiting the pitch, takes a strike, 0-1.
Leonard a .335 average at Moorhead State this year and .859 on-base plus slugging percentage. It's a big stat, on-base plus slugging.
0-1, quickly taken for a strike, 0-2.
Displays a hitter's ability to get on base and as well as their ability to hit for power. So OPS is a stat I'll be looking a lot at this season in the Cape Cod Baseball League.
I love the OPS stat. I think it's really helpful, combining slugging and on base. The 0-2 to Leonard. A rifled foul down the first baseline. Watch out. That was almost head level. Count now at 0-2. No score. Bottom of the second with Newstrom at first base and no outs.
One thing to keep an eye on, Reed Leonard walks more than most batters does.
The 0-2?
Most batters do, excuse me. Had 39 walks in 59 games this year.
The 0-2 in the dirt. And now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Slider not really working so far here for Fioli.
Nope, and once he gets that slider and changeup going, then that makes the fastballs just that much better than it already is.
The 1-2, chipped at home plate, fouled off of the catcher, Anchia.
But, even in the major leagues, we see pitchers get off to slow starts early in games, especially first game of the season coming out of UConn. UConn, a team that just barely missed the College World Series, or the NCAA baseball championships this year. And, sometimes it takes pitchers a few innings to get settled in here.
The 1-2 from Fioli. Off speed, the slider works that time. Called strike 3 on Leonard.
Beautiful slider, goes from the outside part of the plate, slides back into the inside part of the plate, and just froze Leonard in the box.
Georgia Tech, number 25, Bryant Stallings.
Bryant Stallings, the first baseman out of Georgia Tech, will step in with Newstrom at first. 1 gone, no score here in the bottom of the second. First pitch a little high, 1-0.
But still a good pitch there by Fioli, just a little bit above the belt. And we'll see if that strikeout gives him some more confidence here in the second inning.
Fioli looks the runner at first, will throw over, and diving back safely is Newstrom. You talk about the NCAA tournament. Gatemen had 9 players that made the NCAA tournament, and now 4 of them are playing in the College World Series.
And it could have been 11 if UConn got in, and a lot of people feel that UConn Huskies team should have been an NCAA tournament team.
1-0. Away, snap throw down to first base from the catcher Anchia, but Newstrom was back safely.
Watching the selection show, immediately the analysts all over TV were like, where's UConn, one of the best teams in the American Conference all season. And just didn't get the respect the other conferences got.
Fioli's 2-0. Did he go? They check down at first base. And Mike Griffin says no, he didn't go. So now 3 balls and no strikes with a runner at first and Newstrom with 1 out and no score here in the bottom of the second inning. Fioli's 3-0, taken for a strike. Wisely by the batter, Stallings.
On Fioli here, 3-0 swing, probably not the best idea for any of these Harbor Hawks players.
Fioli would check over again, and Newstrom back safely.
Not sure what the scouting report on Newstrom's speed is, but Fioli seems to be a bit distracted by him over there at first.
Fioli's 3-1. And he will walk Stallings. So down to first base goes Stallings, to second Newstrom. That'll bring up Chris Proctor, the catcher. Well, Brett Canine, the returner from last season out of Cal State Fullerton, he is playing in those College World Series. He's playing Oregon. Oregon has Nick Madrigal, Stephen Kwan.
It's Oregon State.
Oregon State, rather.
The Beavers out of Corvallis, Oregon. And the Oregon Ducks had a little bit of a down year this year. But the Beavers were just unbelievable.
They were.
With Madrigal, especially over there in the middle infield.
Proctor, the left-handed batter, awaits Fioli's pitch. First pitch swinging and fouls one straight back to the fence, 0-1.
Madrigal was recently invited to Team USA.
And he will be going. Don Sneddon, talking pregame, says he is not coming here. This is the second year in a row he's been named to the Team USA team. And this is his second year he was named to the Gatemen roster. He didn't come last year because of injury. So just,
we're
not going to get a chance to see him play. That's the final say.
Unfortunately, he is an incredible player.
Pitch is sent out to shallow center field. Running in are a couple Gatemen, and they'll let it bounce to center fielder Angelini. All the runners will hold. And the bases now are juiced as Chris Proctor finds his way to first on a bloop single to center field.
Yeah, the runners really couldn't get a big head start there as that was a pop-up. They didn't think that ball would drop, but it did right in front of the center fielder Angelini. Now the bases are loaded.
Bases loaded for Reese Hampton, who got things started in the first inning with a single. The UNC product has the bases juiced with Newstrom at third, Stallings at second, and Proctor at first. One out in the inning, no score, bottom of the second. Fioli's first pitch is sent out to right field. Over it is Shadid. He will make the catch, rather. He'll throw it in quickly. Nicely done by Shadid.
Great play by Shadid, getting it in to the infield as quickly as possible. And it looked like Newstrom over at third was thinking about coming to tag here, but was immediately held up by his third base coach.
So Shadid makes the second out. It's a little tough to see right field through the netting and with the sun. We'll do our best. That'll bring up Ford Proctor. He flew out his first time up.
Now whether or not the Harbor Hawks get any runs in this inning, they're still working Mason Fioli's pitch count.
That ball in the dirt, 1-0.
And it's really important for this Harbor Hawks roster to work that pitch count, get it up on Fioli, try to get this bullpen out here early for Wareham.
Again, the bases juice, no score, 2 outs, bottom of the second. Fioli's pitch, taken for a strike on a fastball, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Really good pitch, painting the outside corner at the belt.
Newstrom at third, Stallings at second, and Proctor at first, with Ford Proctor the batter. He takes the ball inside, just a little bit inside, 2-1. Tyler Frank, the shortstop, awaiting on deck. Proctor flew out to center field. Nick Angelini, his first time up. And the bases are loaded with 2 outs, no score. Fioli's 2-1 pitch. Rifled foul right to the backstop. Count now even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It does seem lefties are struggling a little bit more against Mason Fioli early on in this game. Proctor is hitting from the left today. Ford Proctor, that is, not Chris Proctor, the 9-hitter.
The 2-2 pitch from Fioli. Slider just missing. The crowd not liking the work of Tom Carey behind the plate so far.
You know, it missed outside, but it was still a really good pitch there by Fioli. Tried to get it to break out of the zone, or tried to get it to break from the middle of the zone out to the outside corner, but just missed that outside corner at the knees.
Bases loaded. 3-2 pitch from Fioli is taken inside for ball 4. Fioli walks in Newstrom from third, and Hyannis scores first. They're up 1-0.
Don't want to see that ever, really, a walked-in run. But seems Fioli's command is struggling a little bit here early on, but we know what he's capable of.
Jim Lawler, the pitching coach, now coming up for Wareham to settle down Fioli. He let up a single to Newstrom. He struck out Leonard. Brant Stallings walked. Chris Proctor singled. Reese Hampton flew out, and then he walks in Ford Proctor. So Proctor credited with the RBI.
You know, for these guys playing baseball almost every day, just that little break between the end of the UConn season and when Fioli arrived a few days ago, that can throw a pitcher off quite a bit, not getting those reps in as much as frequently. So we'll see if Fioli can find his game here. The bases are still loaded, though, for Hyannis.
Fioli pitched for the Worcester Bravehearts in 2016, in the summer, that is. So he's played summer baseball before. He'll now be facing Tyler Frank, the shortstop who struck out looking his first time up. He first pitch swings this one foul over the Gatemen dugout. 0-1.
Don't forget, fans, you can keep that foul ball tonight thanks to our friends at DJ's.
Scoreboard says 1-0. That's an error. It's 0-1.
Tyler Frank started all 57 games for Florida Atlantic this year. 11 home runs, 43 RBIs, and a 988 OPS, as we said. We love that stat.
1-0, swung, and it is fair down the third baseline. From third comes Stallings, as well as Proctor scores. And to second base goes Tyler Frank. He's got a 2 RBI double, and the Harbor Hawks take a 3-0 lead.
A really well-placed ball by Tyler Frank. Slapped it down the line past the third baseman, McIver. Fioli's still struggling here. This is uncharacteristic of the Wareham ace, but high competition here in the Cape League.
Brendan Donovan was hit by a pitch his first time up. He'll step in and take a slider for a strike. Oh, 0-1. So again, 3-0 so far here in Hyannis with 2 outs. Donovan swings at a breaking ball, fouls it straight back, and quickly 0-2.
And Donovan played some summer ball last year as well. Played for the Newmarket Rebels down in Newmarket, Virginia, a very small town in the Appalachian Mountains. Hit .314 in the Valley League.
No balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs, and a 3-0 lead for Hyannis. Here comes Fioli's pitch. It's in the dirt, blocked nicely by Jake Anchia, the Gateman catcher, and he gathers the ball. He goes out to talk to his southpaw pitcher.
Fioli still struggling here. Some of those, I've seen a lot of those off-speed pitches wind up in the dirt today, and a few hanging breaking balls, but it's just the command. We said his pitches kind of go together. You know, once one's not working, it makes the other ones that much harder to get by these talented hitters.
He went 1-2 in 5 games for the Worcester Bravehearts with a 1.66 ERA. So he's had success in the summer before, as now the home plate umpire Tom Carey cleans off home plate. Went a minimum of 5 innings in each start for the Bravehearts. An outing also included 6 strikeouts versus the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. That was the night they clinched the regular season title. So this guy's been in pretty big spots. And he's definitely in a big one right now.
Absolutely. He's facing a tough hitter here. This is the cleanup hitter for Hyannis, Brendan Donovan. And, you know, stressing.
Well, now Don Snedden comes out to check on Jake Anchia. Home plate umpire Tom Carey called off the at-bat for a moment. He might have got hit by a foul ball. And now the trainer's going to come out for Hyannis, as Anchia rolling his neck around. Don't know if it's his neck or it was his hand he was squeezing, and the trainer now working on his neck, pinching it a little bit.
It doesn't seem like Anchia wants to lead this game, though. It seems like he's just trying to make sure everything's all right up there, maybe equipment-wise as well.
Well, now another trainer personnel is going to come out to the field. Don Snedden heading back to the dugout to talk to Sean Callahan, one of the assistant coaches. And I believe they might be telling someone to get ready in the dugout to come in.
Well, it would be Kyle Knopf, the other catcher, because the other 2 catchers are at first and third right now. So I was thinking there's plenty of catchers to replace him, but really there's only one right now.
You would think so.
And she is now...
He's just sitting.
He's sitting behind the home plate.
So Anchia is sitting. We don't know if he got nicked by a foul ball or if he's not feeling well because of a sickness.
You just got to hope that if he did get hit by a foul ball, he's not feeling concussion-like symptoms right now, because that would... be a devastating blow for this catcher.
It's back the 2017
You mentioned, and she is a great catcher. It's not surprising that he got the call here on opening day. He can play almost any position in the field, plays outfield, plays at the corners. He's got that great arm, throwing out batters at second. So losing Anchia here early would be tough for Wareham.
1 ball and 2 strikes is the count with 2 outs. Warming up another catcher on the sidelines. Anchia still talking to Don Snedden, the trainers, and home plate umpire Tom Carey.
You know, the fact that he's still out here after a few minutes makes me think that he's probably staying in this game. But I could be wrong. Kyle Noth is warming up on the sidelines right now.
So he would be the replacement. Snedden going back to the dugout, and they will go with the replacement. So
yeah, got to be careful here early in the season.
Anchia will now leave the game. We'll have to find out what happened to him. And now coming in for Wareham is Kyle Noth out of Manville, LA. That's his hometown, out of Nickel State. So he talks over with Fioli real quick. And now he does the catching.
Well, you know, Fioli probably hasn't seen much of any of these catchers, of course, but might be tough for a guy like Kyle Noth coming in here middle of a game. Probably didn't warm up with Fioli much before this game, and now he's got to deal with a pitcher that he's never, probably barely caught for before. And he's got really good stuff. Has that slider with a lot of movement, so we'll see how Kyle Noth reacts to Mason Fioli's stuff behind the plate.
So Noth will replace Anchia, and now it's a 1-2 count to Brendan Donovan, the third baseman. Ball is up high, 2-2. So runners are at second and third. Frank is at second, and Proctor is at third. It's a 3-0 game in favor of the Harbor Hawks. Fioli's 2-2. Slider missing just on the outside, and now the count runs full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. He's had issues on that outside part of the plate.
Yeah, that slider once again really close, but just not getting that spot in the outside corner.
3-2 pitch, up high, ball 4. So he will walk Donovan. He'll send him down the first, and now the bases are juiced once again. Ryan Olenek up. He's the left fielder.
And that's Fioli's third walk of the inning. As Olenek steps into the plate, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks have now batted around. Unless, of course, one of these base runners gets thrown out.
First pitch to Olenek is swung on and hit to the second baseman, Robbie Metz. He'll throw on to first, and he will retire Olenek. But the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, they score 3. And through 2, it is 3-0 Hyannis. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Continuing with our corporate sponsors, we also want to recognize and thank Franklin Sports, Advanced Embroidery, Cape Destinations, Robert B. R., Sullivan Tire, Vacation Inn Cape Cod, Cape Cod Veterinary Specialists, Cape Cod Times, Kinlan Grover Real Estate, Next Radio, Yellow Book, TSA, Rawlings, Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce, Highline Cruises, Sports Picks, On Deck Sports, Barnstable Bat, Hyannis Area Chamber of Commerce, HP Hood, Sunderland Printing, and Axis Bats. And of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for over 50 years of support. All-Star Game Weekend starts with a celebrity softball game on July 21st at McKeon Park in Hyannis. Come watch Jason Veritek, Bill Lee, Nancy Kerrigan, Scott Zolak, and other celebrities play ball in support of the Cape Cod Baseball League and Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital of Cape Cod. Gates open at 4 p.m. For more information and to buy tickets, go to allstarcapecod.org. That's allstarcapecod.org.
Welcome back. The top of the third here in Hyannis. The Harbor Hawks scored 3 back in the bottom of the second. They're up 3-0, and now we'll send it to the sidelines with Claudia Chikamian. Claudia?
Okay, I just went over to the Gatemen dugout, and Anchia looks okay. He has a little bit of left eye blurriness, got hit in the neck, but he seems to be okay. I think it might be a concussion, but they're just going to let him rest for a little bit, see how he's feeling, but he's not going to go back in, it looks like. So looks better than it did seem for a little bit. He looked a little fuzzy, but things should be good. So back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Claudia.
Well, if he does have concussion-like symptoms, that's probably not a good sign for Anchia, as he is on a temporary contract.
And you want to get him out of there soon. I mean, if it's concussions, that's very serious.
Oh, absolutely.
Weiss's first pitch to Shattuck is past the third baseman, Donovan, and in for a base hit, and he's heading for 2. The throw to second base, and they got him. Shattuck thought he had it, and he was rounding first and headed for second all the way, but Olenek guns him down from left field. Nice play there from the left fielder. 1 gone.
You know, a nice aggressive play there by Shattuck. You know, bold move, but he once again, another temporary player trying to prove himself. It's a good hustle, and he has the speed, but just barely caught there at second base, and a good throw.
First pitch in for a strike to John Topa out of UConn, another UConn guy we've been talking about.
But still, that was the first Gateman hit of the day, trying to solve this pitcher.
Topa takes strike 2, so he's down quickly in the count. No balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. The 0-2 from Weiss, breaking ball outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The 1-2, another breaking ball. Nice eye there from Topa.
Yeah, that was a dangerous-looking breaking ball there. If he didn't detect immediately, he could have gone fishing for that one in the dirt.
Weiss's 2-2 to Topa, checked his swing.
Oof.
And he might have went around. But now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And the home plate umpire didn't even check to the first base umpire for help, so.
3 balls and 2 strikes, and Topa swings onto Frank, the shortstop. And now
he bobbled it.
He bobbled it.
It was a tough play for Frank there at shortstop up the middle. On the run, kind of went under his glove a little bit.
We'll see how they score it.
That will be interesting. Because even if he didn't make that play cleanly, the transfer would have been tough on the run. And Topa does have some speed. Well, they did give Topa a hit there.
They did.
So a single.
A single for John Topa. That'll bring up Ben Baird, the shortstop out of Washington, with Topa at first. And a big swing and a miss there, fooled on the breaking ball. Nice pitch from Weiss. 0-1.
Ben Baird, the second Washington player in this lineup, along with Willie McIver.
So still 3-0 Hyannis. In the top of the third, Weiss's pitch low and away, 1-1.
Gatemen got to try to string some hits together here on Weiss. They have 2 straight hits here in the first inning, or here in the third inning, excuse me. And that play by Shattuck over there at second is now coming back to haunt them with that Topa single.
The 1-1 slapped high in the infield. Frank coming in is the shortstop. He'll throw on the run to get Baird for the first, or for rather for the second out. Topa moves to second base.
You know, I really like what I've seen out of that shortstop, Frank, on these last 2 plays. Despite the fact that he did not get that Topa ball up the middle, he looks really comfortable on the run. Fielded with his glove, not with the bare hand, like a lot of players make that mistake when they're young. Seeing the pros do that, it's not as easy as it looks with the bare hand. So good job by Frank trying to use that glove on both those slow rollers up the infield.
Brandon Lockridge now has a runner in scoring position, but with 2 outs in a 3-0 ball game in favor of the Harbor Hawks. And he takes a breaking ball for a strike, 0-1.
Just barely in there. A great pitch there by Weiss, low on the corner on the curveball. And I bet Lockridge thought that one was low.
No balls and 1 strike. Weiss looks back the runner at second. Here comes the pitch. That's swung again on to the shortstop, Frank. He'll throw on to first. A little bit of a high throw, and the ball gets away from the first baseman. And they'll throw back to home plate so that Topa doesn't score. But an error there on an errant throw from Tyler Frank, the shortstop.
You know, would that be an errant throw though? Is that an E6 or is that an E3? Because you know, in my opinion, if the first baseman's able to get his glove on it without jumping, he should be making that catch. So it'll be interesting to see where that error goes on the official score. But either way, now runners in the corners for Wareham.
Runners at the corners. Topa at third, Lockridge at first. That'll bring up Nick Angelini, the center fielder. He swings and misses.
Weiss just blew that fastball right by him. But a good approach by Angelini, swinging on that first pitch, trying to get a feel for this kind of foreign pitcher out of Wright State in Illinois.
0-1. Runners at the corners. Breaking ball in for a strike, and it's quickly 0-2. Angelini struck out swinging back in the first. So 2 outs here for the Gatemen. Runners at the corners, and the Harbor Hawks up 3-0. 0-2 pitch to Angelini. Framed by the catcher Proctor, but just a bit outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Doesn't seem like the home plate umpire Tom Carey is giving those outside corner strikes on the off-speed pitches today early on. So you really got to paint the plate.
The 1-2 pitch, up and away on a fastball. 2-2.
Once again, good plate awareness by Angelini here. Got behind on the count, but he's trying to work a good at-bat here against Weiss, who's facing his first trouble of the day.
2-2 pitch is chopped again to the shortstop, Frank. Can he get this throw over? He does. And that will end the inning. So a nice job there from Tyler Frank to throw out Nick Angelini, and that will retire the side. So 2 hits, 1 error, no runs. The Gatemen still trail at 3-0. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. And now we're going to send it over to Connor Federico. Connor?
Cape League update here, guys. In Harwich, it's 1-0 in favor of the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox. An RBI ground out from Christopher Sharp scored the opening run in the top of the first for YD. That one's in the top of the second. Moving over to Bourne, the Braves in the top of the fourth. They have a 1-0 advantage over the Cotuit Kettleers. Bourne, their only run came in the form of a wild pitch in the bottom of the second. So they have a 1-0 lead, Bourne over Cotuit. That's a West Division matchup. And the only interdivision matchup of the day, Falmouth representing the West. They're down 5-0 against the Chatham Anglers right now. Chatham had 2 RBIs from Jacob Olson and Michael Copen. So far, 4 runs in the top of the first and 1 run in the top of the second. That's all for this Cape League update. Back to Jacob and Sam on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Thank you, Connor. Connor Federico, the host of the pregame show as well. Claudia Chikamian on hand. Jacob Toby alongside Sam Corman. And we've got a new pitcher on the hill. It is Andrew Ryan out of UMass Lowell.
And we mentioned how important it would be for Hyannis to try to knock Fioli out of this game early on. And now Ryan's into the game from UMass Lowell. Has a 4-pitch arsenal, 2 fastballs, a 2-seamer and the 4-seamer, and also has a slider and a changeup. So we'll see what Andrew Ryan can do in his first outing of the season. Had 140 strikeouts in his UMass Lowell career and only 75 walks, so about 2-to-1 ratio there. And his first ever baseball camp in his career came in Wareham at Spillane Field.
Yes, it did, and he's pretty impressive. He went to Old Rochester High School. He threw a no-hitter versus Wareham High School, which is pretty funny. It was Old Rochester's first no-hitter in 10 years. So the kid's got some history as he's warming up on the mound.
UMass Lowell known for their hockey, of course, but Andrew Ryan making sure that their baseball team competes, is one of the better teams up there in Lowell.
And it's good to see
is it the Riverhawks? Is that who it is?
I believe it's the Riverhawks. Yeah, it's good to see a local product. He's from Rochester, Mass. And he will face Robert Newstrom, the right fielder, to lead it off. Newstrom singled back in the second and came around to score. As the score right now, 3-0 in favor of the Harbor Hawks. Ryan's first pitch, outside, ball 1.
We'll keep an eye on what kind of pitches Andrew Ryan's going to use here early on in this game, because he does have that 4-pitch arsenal.
Ryan's second pitch swung on and missed, a fastball, 1-1.
It might be hard to detect 2-seam versus 4-seam from over here, but they are both there for Andrew Ryan.
Ryan's 1-1. Fouled off of the catcher Knopf. And now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ryan had a 24-inning scoreless streak in this season, rather. Or in his last year, 2016, excuse me. Led the team in strikeouts as well that year. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes to Newstrom. And that is sent out to right field. Going back is Shattered, and he makes the catch. 1 gone. Newstrom lining out to right field.
Shattered, a good play out there in right, making sure his body was turned correctly, kind of turned the other way to make that play.
The 1 gone. Reed Leonard, the DH, coming up. He struck out looking in the second. One of Fioli's 3 strikeouts. Or rather 2 strikeouts, both looking. Ryan's first pitch, up and away, 1-0.
That was that breaking ball there from Andrew Ryan.
Ryan's 1-0, squibbed to the shortstop Baird. He can't hand it. He'll throw to first, but it will not be in time. So Leonard will reach. We'll see how they score it, but having trouble was Ben Baird, the shortstop for Wareham.
Yeah, it's a tough play for Baird, as that ball was spinning a little bit. Kind of tough to read how far that was going to go as Leonard just squibbed it a little bit. So, and that will, looks like that's going to be scored in error against,
believe so,
Baird.
So an E6. If you're scoring the game, Brant Stallings will take a ball low, the first baseman. 1-0. He's got a runner on first base and Reed Leonard. And still 3-0 in favor of the Harbor Hawks.
Stallings towering in that right-handed batter's box.
He's a big boy. 1 ball and no strike to count with a runner on first base. The score 3-0 in favor of Hyannis. That one right back to the screen. 1-1. Stallings, who's in the batter's box right now, is 6'4".
A lot of tall guys in this Hyannis team.
Check over the runner at first, and Leonard back safely.
Important batter, though, for Andrew Ryan here. He just came into the game and would have liked to get that last out from his shortstop to get those first 2 batters retired. He kind of settle in. But now he's got a guy in first. He's throwing from the stretch now, so a little bit of a change. And
They check over again. The runner, he's back safely.
A little bit of a shaky pickoff attempt, though. Those last 2 both very low for the first baseman Sabol to handle. He's got to make sure he gets not too errant with those pickoff attempts.
The 1-1. Breaking ball missing outside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Stallings. Stallings walked back in the second and came around to score.
Had the right idea with that slider, though. Just missed the outside corner, as we've seen from both Fioli and Ryan today.
The 2-1 is popped out to shallow center field. Going out there is the second baseman, Robbie Metz, but Nick Angelini calling off Metz, the center fielder, to put Stallings away, 2 gone.
Textbook there. Communication between Metz and Angelini, as the center fielder always has that ball if he wants it. But Metz was there if he needed it to make the play.
So 2 gone as Stallings is retired, and Chris Proctor, the catcher, who singled and scored back in the second, now has a runner on first. And Reed Leonard.
This is one of the most talented hitters in this lineup, a Duke University product. ACC All-Tournament this year.
The Blue Devil swings and fouls one back over the screen, 0-1.
More so known for his defensive abilities behind the plate at catcher, though. 4 pass balls all season and just 1 error with Duke this year. Hit .255 with 21 RBIs. And despite the fact that he's a catcher, he's 3 for 3 on stolen bases. So we've seen that as a little theme today. Catchers who can run.
They check back over on Leonard at first. He dives back safely. About the third or fourth time that Andrew Ryan has checked over on Leonard.
Leonard not known to be a huge threat on the bases.
0-1 from Ryan, up and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 outs here in the bottom half of the third inning, with the Hyannis Harbor Hawks up 3-0. Ryan looks back, the runner at first. The 1-1 pitch to Proctor. Outside on a fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Looks like Andrew Ryan's going a lot with that slider. Haven't seen too much of that changeup yet.
Ryan threw a team-high 74 in the third innings at UMass Lowell. This past season, the 2-1. Away, and now they throw down to second base as Leonard was trying to go, and he gets in there safely on the stolen base. So Leonard steals. The count now 3 balls and 1 strike.
Well, I guess he had a reason to be worried about him over there at first base. I didn't think Reed Leonard was a huge base stealer based on his scouting report, but the Moorhead.
Now you have to write it in your scouting report.
But
right?
now the Moorhead State product has 1 stolen base, maybe leading the league, might be leading the Cape Cod Baseball League right now. Who knows?
That very well may be true. He's at second. The 3-1 pitch from Ryan swung on and missed. A foul tip. So now the count's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. With Leonard at second. 2 outs and a 3-0 ball game. Hyannis up on Wareham in the bottom of the third.
That is actually a huge steal for Reed Leonard. Now is a runner in scoring position.
Ryan's 3-2. Check swing. And Proctor goes down to first base with a walk. So now runners at first and second. That'll bring up Reese Hampton, the center fielder.
And that is the 4th walk in addition to a hit by pitch by this Gatemen pitching staff today. Just 3 runs.
So command an issue.
Yeah, 3 runs on just 4 hits so far for Hyannis. Of course, that last inning was the big one on Fioli. But Andrew Ryan having trouble settling in after that E6.
Reese Hampton takes a ball up high, 1-0, and now Kyle Noth, the catcher for Wareham, going out to talk to Ryan. Reese Hampton at the plate today, 1 for 2 so far. Single back in the first and lined out in the second.
Already his 3rd at-bat here in the 3rd inning. So just kind of shows the kind of day it's been for Wareham. Even though it's only a 3-0 game, their pitchers are really working, as this is the 19th batter of this game already for Hyannis.
Hampton awaiting the first pitch. He's got runners on first and second. He takes a strike on a fastball. 0-1. A 1-1, rather, the count is.
We'll see if Reese Hampton can get back to what he did his freshman season at UNC Charlotte, hitting .335.
1-1 is squibbed. Coming in is the third baseman, McIver. He throws on to first, and he got him in time. Nice play by Willie McIver, the third baseman, and he throws out Reese Hampton to end the inning. So 1 error and no hits for Hyannis. It's still 3-0. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The Fuller Family Foundation is proud to support the excellent sportsmanship and character of the Cape Cod Baseball League. The Wareham Gatemen and the visiting team, the Cape Cod Baseball League, and the NCAA promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation and positive support of the participants and officials. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from this ballpark. Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all that they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
The Gatemen Baseball Network would like to remind you that you can contact us anytime by emailing gatemen@pressbox.org. Please feel free to send us your questions or comments, and we'll make sure to address them as soon as possible. Make sure to keep up with all the Gatemen action 24/7 by following Wareham Gatemen on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud. And we're back here, top of the fourth. The Gatemen bats will come back, and they're down 3-0 to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Jacob Toby alongside Sam Corman, Claudia Chikamian, our sideline reporter, on hand as well. And Willie McIver, who made a nice play to end the inning, last half inning, is now up at the plate. He's the third baseman, and he's 0 for 1 on the day.
McIver, an all Pac-12 honorable mention this year.
First pitch swinging, sends one out to deep center field. Going back is Hampton, and he makes the grab way out there in center field. McIver sent that one far, but he's retired, one gone.
But a good idea for McIver, coming up there swinging on the first pitch and makes good hard contact.
The next batter for Wareham, the catcher from Nichols, number 15,
Kyle Noth will get his first crack today as he substitutes for Jake Anchia, who may be out with some sort of head injury. We'll get more on that as it comes to us, rather. That one hits the umpire, believe, in the mask, 1-0, as it tipped off.
Kyle Noth also plays some first base, so that's now 3 of 4. Actually, all 4 Gatemen catchers can play on the corners as well.
1-0 in the dirt to Noth. He's ahead 2 balls and no strikes.
And Kyle Noth is a great eye behind the plate. He walked in 18% of his at-bats.
He swings this one and pops it way up into left field. Under it is the shortstop, Tyler Frank. He calls off the left fielder, Ryan Olenek, and Noth is retired, 2 gone.
the next batter for the Gatemen. The first baseman.
Well, Connor Federico mentioned earlier the Cape League update, and the late game of the night, Orleans is hosting, and they've got one former Gateman, Preston Grand Prix. He's batting 7th today. He played for the Gatemen back in 2015 and in 2016. He also got drafted today. First pitch swinging is Blake Sable. He's behind 0-1.
Speaking of drafted, Blake Sable was drafted out of high school. Chose to go to USC instead, and he needs draft pick. The 2016 American League champions, 33rd round.
0-1 in the dirt, bouncing. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Fun fact about Blake Sable is he's actually related to the Steelers Hall of Fame safety Troy Polamalu.
That's an interesting stat, or a little nugget rather. The 1-1 sent out on a line to left field. Olenek under it, and he puts it away to end the inning. So 3 up and 3 down for the Gatemen. No runs on no hits and no errors. And it's still 3-0 in favor of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Do you know what that sound is? That's your new digital marketing department. And that'll be your new web designer. And that's Haibu, where these experts are joined by many more, from web designers to search marketing specialists who work hard to get your business noticed online and on mobile. Best of all, Haibu can do it all for you, or give you the tools to do it yourself. To find out more, go to haibu.com. That's HIBU.com. Or call 855-464-HIBU. Oh, that'll be your next new customer. Haibu, made for business.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. This special weekly celebration of Red Shirt Fridays is sponsored by 47 Brand, HP Hood, Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, Advanced Embroidery, and the Cape League. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
It is still 3-0 in favor of the Harbor Hawks here in Hyannis. We're in the bottom of the fourth. Ford Proctor set to lead it off against UMass Lowell product Andrew Ryan. And talking about the MLB draft, a lot of players, a lot of Wareham players drafted yesterday and today.
In the early
the Cape League as well.
Oh, all over the Cape League. As usual, I mean, over 20% of MLB players have played here on the Cape.
Ford Proctor waiting Andrew Ryan's first pitch. First pitch swinging, swings it back to the screen. 0-1.
The first to go from the Gatemen was Gavin Sheets out of Wake Forest. Played here last year, and now is probably heading off to the Milwaukee Brewers.
0-1 is sent deep out to center field. Going back is Angelini, tracking it and making the catch with his back turned to us. He makes the catch, retires Proctor, one gone.
Angelini made that look textbook out there in center field. Had to range back quite a bit to the warning track, covering a lot of ground, and makes the good over-the-shoulder catch like you're taught.
Sheets actually got drafted to the White Sox.
Excuse me, that was KJ Harrison, the next former Gateman to get drafted that went to the Brewers. That got them confused.
So Sheets went 49th to the White Sox. Harrison went 83rd to the Brewers. As Tyler Frank, the shortstop, steps in, had a 2 RBI double his last time up, and takes a ball outside 1-0.
Oh, that slider once again just missing the outside corner. We've seen a lot of those today. You have to wonder, maybe they got to try that inside part of the plate. Get that front door action.
The 1-0 pitch from Ryan.
And there it was.
Check swing, taken for a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. 2015 shortstop Kramer Robinson, drafted by the Cardinals. Cole Freeman, who was the batting champ of the Cape League last summer. He got drafted by the Nationals, 133rd overall. Just a lot of players.
Cole Freeman off the World Series first.
Exactly. Swing and a miss here from Tyler Frank. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Along with Kramer Robertson with that LSU team who is just tearing through teams. They have won at least 16 or 17 games in a row now, dating back to the SEC tournament, just rolling through their opponents.
The 1-2 pitch from Ryan. It swung on and missed. Fooled Frank on the breaking ball. They'll throw down to first just to make sure. And Frank is retired. 2 gone and still 3-0 in favor of the Harbor Hawks. A lot of players, again, from Wareham drafted. Alex Destino, the 2016 outfielder, drafted 417th by the White Sox, so he'll team up with Gavin Sheets in the future. Adrian Tobalin from Azusa Pacific. That's a D2 school. He got drafted. He was a player last summer for the Gatemen. Hit some bombs to left field out in Spillane as Brendan Donovan, the third baseman, takes ball 1. Joey Bartosik, the 2016 Gateman, gets drafted by the Rockies, 566 overall.
And Bartosik is a player who...
The 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes.
As Bartosik is a player who came to the Gatemen as a temp and earned that full roster spot.
2-0 is fouled back. 2-1. The former coach of the Wareham Gatemen, Jerry Weinstein, he's now the coach of the Rockies AA team. So maybe there was a little bit of a connection there with the Rockies.
The Hartford Yard Goats.
Yes. How do you know this?
Oh, because I'm a Hartford native. So
that's true.
And, you know,
the 2-1 sent to the second baseman, Robbie Metz. He bobbles it for a second. He throws to first and still retires Donovan in time. That was a close play, but Metz still does the job there. So no runs on no hits and no errors, and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks still up 3-0. We head to the bottom of to the fifth with the Gatemen trailing 3-0. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Give the gift of life. Donating blood is an easy, quick, safe way to save a life. Blood collected at Cape Cod Healthcare blood drives stay on Cape Cod and is used to treat people here. For information on upcoming blood drives, or if your organization is interested in sponsoring a blood drive, visit capecodhealth.org or call 508-862-5278. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
The Wareham Gatemen would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Back at McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts, the Wareham Gatemen trail the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 3-0. Jacob Toby alongside Sam Corman, and a new pitcher in for the Harbor Hawks. It is Michael Bertel.
And Michael Bertel coming out of Central Michigan. Lives pretty close to there. One of the only Canadian natives on this, probably the only Canadian native on this team, from Fonthill, Ontario, just west of Niagara Falls, America. Went 3-1 with a 4.5 ERA at CMU. Look for that fastball, curveball, changeup.
Robbie Metz takes a first pitch strike. 0-1.
One thing to keep an eye on, walks just about as many batters as he strikes out. So we'll see if that command is there for Bertel today.
The 0-1 in for quick strike, and now it's quickly 0-2. Ryan Weiss, the starting pitcher for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, went 4 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and a strikeout, so a good outing for him. 0-2, sent out to shallow center field. Under it is the second baseman, Ford Proctor. He retires Metz. 1 gone.
You can see the frustration from Metz there as he left the batter's box. You know, since he's a veteran, he really feels maybe some pressure on his shoulders here with the Gatemen as the only returner right now with Kanine still in the World Series. So he's the leader. He's the one that's got to rally the troops here for the Gatemen and get some runs on the board.
Andy Shatted will rocket one down the third baseline, but foul.
It almost landed right on the bag.
It was close. So close. So it's 0-1. Talking more about the MLB draft. Former Gatemen pitcher in 2016, Gunnar Leger out of Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns. He announced that he will return for his senior season. He didn't like any of the offers he got in the 7th and 8th rounds. He was the Sun Belt pitcher of the year. That ball in 1-1.
And Andy Shattuck, the current batter from Bradley University, been really impressive as a temporary player so far for the Gatemen.
Takes a ball up high, 2-1.
Did get caught at second after that single back in the second, but he's kind of making it really hard for.
The pitch is sent out to right field. Going back is Newstrom, couple steps, and retires Shattuck, 2 gone.
I'm saying he's making good contact. He's probably going to make it hard for Coach Snedden and the Gatemen staff to cut this kid if ever.
John Topa, the left fielder, singled his first time up and then was left at third back in the 3rd inning. Showing bunt, pulls it back, takes a ball, 1-0. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. It's still 3-0 in favor of the Harbor Hawks. It's a beautiful night for baseball. Shadows now taking the field. And the 1-0 sent on a line to center field. Hampton makes the play. And that will end the inning. He retires John Topa. So the Gatemen go 1-2-3. No runs on no hits and no errors. And the Gatemen still trail it 3-0. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Welcome Welcome back to the Gatemen Baseball Network. I'm Claudia Chicamia along with Coach Don Sneddon. Coach, first of all, can you give me an update on Jake Anchia?
He seems to be okay. He had a little blurred vision with that. He got hit in the carotid there, and I think that he's no problem with any breathing or anything else, dizziness and all that stuff. So I think he'll be fine.
All right, and then at the last exhibition game against New Bedford, you guys were down 3-0 at the same time. Came back to win at 6-3. So what are you hoping to accomplish? Hopefully the same feat, but how are you trying to get that?
Well, we need to throw strikes. We got to keep them from scoring. We didn't do a very good job at this first part here of throwing strikes, and they got a timely hit. And then obviously we got to get some base runners. I need to get in the game so I can give a sign. So far I haven't had a chance to do that.
Great. Well, thank you. Best of luck the rest of the game. Okay. Back to you, Jacob.
Thank you, Claudia. And what Don Sneddon was just referencing, he needs to get a sign. So last year he was the third base coach for the Gatemen, and he always joked about having this stat called runs coached in. And this year I was talking to him pregame today, and he said it's not now runs coached in, it's runs signed in. He's signing off on these runs now. So he's pretty excited about that.
That's pretty interesting stuff.
Ryan Olenek, the left fielder, will step in against Andrew Ryan and take a strike on the inside part, 0-1. Again, here in the bottom half of the fifth inning, a 3-0 lead for the Harbor Hawks over the Gatemen.
But the other point that
the 0-1 into the dirt, 1-1.
The other point that Claudia made about the great news about Jake Anchia seems to be okay, not a long-term injury, hopefully. And Sneddon seems to be pretty confident that that's the case.
Andrew Ryan's 1-1, fouled off of the catcher Noth.
Really good breaking ball there from Andrew Ryan, one of the best we've seen, as Olenek just hacked out of his shoes there, fouled it off.
So 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count. No outs here in the bottom of the fifth with a 3-0 score. The Gatemen trailing the Harbor Hawks.
Olenek, a .265 hitter at Ole Miss.
Ryan's 1-2. Check swing on a breaking ball. Did he go? And Mike Griffin, the first base umpire, says yes, he did. So Ryan Olenek goes down swinging for the first out of the fifth.
The right fielder from Iowa, number 30, Robert Newstrom.
Robert Newstrom, this is a guy who played basically his entire life in the state of Iowa and played last year for the Waterloo Summer Collegiate League team, and now he's out here in the Cape playing some baseball away from his home state of Iowa, from Sioux City out near South Dakota, and plays at the University of Iowa.
First pitch to Newstrom in the dirt, 1-0, and I hate to do this to you on the air, but I'm going to correct you. It's not in the Cape, it's on the Cape.
Ugh.
I'm from Cape Cod.
He's already told me this once.
I've tried to.
I don't know if I'm ever going to get it, to be honest.
A lot of people say in the Cape, but it's on the Cape. Come on, guys, get with it. Ryan's 1-0, chop to the first baseman. Sable has to flip over to Ryan, and he does a nice job of it for the second out of the inning.
You know, really good play by Sable there. Didn't really conventionally play that, kind of played it off to his left. Usually you want to get your body in front of that, but he played it very well, picking it up on that high bounce and getting it over to the pitcher, who was covering first base, doing his job. I saw in a Major League game yesterday a pitcher for Seattle failing to get over to first base on a routine play to first. You just got to do it.
Reed Leonard, the DH, will step in. Struck out looking his first time up and reached on an error in the third. He takes a ball outside, 1-0. He then stole a base.
Added that to my scouting report on Reed Leonard. Has 1 stolen base now in the Cape Cod League.
Leading the Cape League in stolen bases. He swings on this one, hits it to Metz at second. 2-hop step throw, and he retires Leonard to end the inning. So the Hyannis Harbor Hawks go 1-2-3. They have no runs on no hits and no errors, but they still lead it 3-0. We're headed to the 6th. It's 3-0 Hyannis on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
The Wareham Gatemen would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves. Friendly's Restaurants, a timeless tradition since 1935, is proud to sponsor the 2017 Cape Cod Baseball League season. Baseball and ice cream, two of America's favorite pastimes.
It is still 3-0 in favor of Hyannis here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Jacob Toby alongside my partner Sam Corman. Claudia Chikamian on the sidelines as well. And now the shortstop Ben Baird out of Washington will lead it off. He grounded out to the shortstop his first time up.
Gatemen with 6 consecutive flyouts. One was a pop out to second, but 6 consecutive balls put in the air. They're making hard contact.
Bertel's first pitch chopped foul in the box.
They're making hard contact. They're just not finding the gaps. They have had some deep fly balls, just haven't been able to find many hits. They only have 2 hits in this game. Both came in the 3rd inning consecutively by Shadid, and Topa.
The count now 0-1 with no outs in the top of the 6th. Shadows have now completely covered the field here at Judy Walden Scarfile Field. 0-1, swung on and missed. Dropped out of the glove of Proctor. 0-2. The field is named after former Cape League president Judy Scarfile. Of course, Chuck Sternovit, now the new president, taking over in his first year last year. So this is his 2nd season as the president. Was a GM for a couple teams. The 0-2 pitch, framed by Proctor, was just a bit outside, 1-2.
Ben Baird, a guy who's just getting his college career started. He was a freshman this year at Washington and played 43 games.
That pitch outside as well, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
But pretty impressive stuff for a guy like Ben Baird to be out here in Wareham as a full contract player after his freshman season. You don't see a lot of those.
2-2, chipped foul. Hits the light post and goes into the crowd. Watch out for your head down the first baseline.
Scaring a lot of fans over there in the right side of the bleachers down the first baseline.
2 balls and 2 strikes with no outs and still 3-0 in favor of Hyannis in the top of the 6th. Here comes the 2-2. That is slap foul down the first baseline again. And the count will stay even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, a lot of players drafted for Hyannis this year. They had a lot of luck. We'll talk about that in a moment. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Fouled away again. We'll do it again. Brent Netzer was their highest pick. He went 101st to the Red Sox. He actually was a temporary player with the Gatemen before signing with Hyannis later on when he was dropped last season. A couple All-Stars as well. Cape League All-Stars from last year on Hyannis got drafted. And a called strike 3 caught looking was Ben Baird. He goes down for the first out of the 6th inning. Jordan Rogers, 2016 All-Star, drafted 170th by the Braves. Shortstop Zach Rutherford, he was an All-Star for Hyannis. He got drafted by the Tampa Bay Rays at 169.
Brandon Lockridge, the batter now, is...
Lockridge takes a ball outside, 1-0.
Been probably the most impressive Gateman of the day, although he just walked in the first inning, almost stole a base.
Takes a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike.
But was caught and then reached on that error in the 3rd inning. But his speed is what creates that error, is the shortstop rushing to get that ball over to first base, threw it high.
1-1, sent into center field on a line shot for a base hit. Lockridge will round first, but he'll stay at first. He finds himself with a 1-out single.
Now he's reached on all 3 plate appearances today. So Brandon Lockridge, pretty impressive stuff for a temporary contract guy, but we have said how much talent he has. We highlighted him before the game, and that speed now could show up again. He tried to steal a base back in the first, was caught.
Nick Angelini, he's 0 for 2 on the day. He'll take a ball up high, 1-0. Another player drafted for Hyannis, Garrett Cave. He was drafted in the 4th round by the Giants. He won the Russ Ford Award given to the top reliever in the league. That was back in 2016. He was a force to watch. They checked the runner at first. Lockridge back safely.
Angelini was the Northeast Conference Rookie of the Year as a freshman at Bryant.
1-0 from Brittle. Turning away was Angelini. He was a bit inside. 2 balls and no strikes. William McIver waiting on deck. With 1 out in the top of the 6th. Still a 3-0 ball game here at McKeon Park. 2-0 up and away, and 2-0 becomes 3-0.
Now the catcher wants to have a conversation with Bertel. That's Proctor going out to the mound. But Angelini, a pretty impressive hitter, his .333 career average, but what's even more impressive is that .440 on-base percentage in his career at Bryant, part of the, I believe it's the NEC, Northeast Conference.
He just had a terrific season. Louisville Slugger, freshman All-American, first team All-NEC, 19 multi-hit games, as now we're going to have a mound visit here for a moment.
That .318 average, but that average of .318 went up to .376 against conference opponents, so stepping up big time in those conference games against in the Northeast Conference. That Central Connecticut State won that conference this year and moved on to the NCAA tournament.
And Angelini, he had 3 hits, a double, a triple, and scored 3 times in his first career NEC tournament game. I mean, this kid can do it all, and he may have a chance to stay on this roster.
Absolutely. In the outfield, too, where there's more room than there is in the pitching staff, gives Angelini a good chance to stay around here in Wareham for as long as possible, as all these players are trying to do.
Angelini finds himself ahead of the count, 3 balls and no strikes, with Brandon Lockridge at first base in a 3-0 ball game in favor of Hyannis. And Angelini smartly takes the strike, 3-1.
This is a big at-bat here for Angelini with a 3-1 count. It's in his favor. Got to be patient here at the plate, though.
The 3-1 pitch, runner goes. That is chopped to the third baseman, Donovan. Go over to first and retire Angelini. Runner advances to second, but there are 2 outs in the inning.
But that steal, or that attempted steal by Brandon Lockridge, got rid of the double play opportunity for Hyannis, so a heads-up play there by the Gatemen coaching staff, sending the runner on 3 and I believe it was a 3-1 count, right? Not a 3-2. So a bold move there, but Lockridge is so fast. You can see him just flying around the bases. And he's on second now, the first Gatemen runner, actually the second Gatemen runner to reach scoring position today.
And now Chris Proctor will go out to the mound to talk to Bertel for a moment. This may be to buy some time, as there's an arm warming in the bullpen for Hyannis. We'll see what happens here. He will stay in the game for now, and he'll face William McIver, the third baseman. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Grounded out to short his first time up, then flew out to center field in the 4th.
The wind a little bit blowing now to our backs, out towards the outfield a little bit.
First pitch at the at-bat from Bertel is swung on and fouled back. 0-1.
Seems like it's headed out to maybe straight out to center field. Slight breeze, so that could be helping the hitting side of things as the night starts to overtake the field here in Hyannis.
No balls and 1 strike with Lockridge at second. And that one is swung on to the shortstop, Tyler Frank. 2-step throw over to first base, and he'll retire McIver to end the inning. So no runs on 1 hit and no errors, and the Gatemen, they still trail it 3-0. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgentcare. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgentcare.
The Wareham Gatemen and the visiting team, the Cape Cod Baseball League, and the NCAA promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation and positive support of the participants and officials. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student-athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from this ballpark.
Fill me out with your smile. Let the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you win this game. Take me out.
It is 3-0, bottom half of the 6th inning here at McKeon Park. The Gatemen trail the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Jacob Toby alongside Sam Corman. Claudia Chikamian on the sidelines as well. It looks like we're going to have a change here for a moment. A pinch hitter. Brant Stallings was scheduled to come up to the plate. And instead, it will be Cole Murphy. Well, Cole Murphy out of Cincinnati will get his first plate appearance of the day. He'll replace Stallings at first base.
Cole Murphy, another one of those tall bodies on this Hyannis Harbor Hawks team. Of course, most of those guys over 6'4" pitchers.
He's 6'7".
6'7", and there's 7 pitchers on this team that are over 6'4".
He'll take a ball in the dirt, 1-0.
So Cole Murphy coming in as a pinch hitter is a big spot here.
Big swing and a miss there. 1 ball and 1 strike. The tallest MLB players are 6'8", and this guy's 6'7".
Well,
believe Aaron Judge is 6'8". A Cape League product.
I noticed that Aaron Judge only hit 270 here in the Cape.
That one outside.
When he was here, which is pretty surprising, honestly. Aaron Judge only hitting a 270 average now going to the MLB, but in a moment.
The 2-1 pitch is squibbed, fouled on the third baseline. The count now even, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Apparently what the key to his success so far is how he started his swing earlier. He's loading back earlier, which is so key for these tall players like Cole Murphy to get your weight back early and get that swing off as early as possible.
2-2, swung on and missed. Murphy comes in and strikes out as a pinch hitter. 1 gone here in the 6th. And it's interesting to see the difference between the tall guys that play the field and then the tall guys that are pitchers. Fitz Stadler on this team for Wareham, he is just massive. And he pitched in the preseason game versus the New Bedford Bay Sox.
Actually started that game, I believe.
Yes.
2 innings.
I believe he's 6'8". First pitch swinging is Chris Proctor. Grounds it to Robbie Metz at second base. And a quick 2 outs here in the 6th.
Really composed play over there at second base by Robbie Metz. Was hard hit, had to move to his left a little bit, but able to make the play on just about 1 bounce.
And that's what you'll see out of Robbie Metz. It's consistency at all positions he plays.
Which is anywhere, too.
Exactly, except catcher.
Yeah, which is just so important to have a player like that who can just play anywhere, fill him in where you need him on day in and day out.
Reese Hampton, the center fielder, he's 1 for 3 on the day, showing bunt, pulls it back, and takes a ball 1-0. Talking to Robbie Metz last night at the Gatemen fundraiser, we were saying how he plays all the positions except catcher. I asked him, well, what are you gonna catch this season or what? And he politely declined the offer.
Well, there are 4 guys on the roster that are ahead of him right now.
The 1-0 foul back down the third base line. 1 ball and 1 strike with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Hyannis still up 3-0. We saw Metz get tested at every position in the infield and the outfield. He came in to pitch as well back in 2016. 1-1.
We know this guy can catch, Chris Proctor.
1-1 becomes now 1-2.
We know he can catch, but the question is, can he improve that hitting? In the ACC, it's really tough with those those top schools like North Carolina and Florida State.
The 1-2 pitch. Fastball, thought he could get Hampton to chase. Ryan now has a 2-2 count with the batter Hampton.
But he is at 255 with Duke this year, 21 RBIs. But he played really well in the tournament. He was an ACC all-tournament player.
2-2, framed by Noth, just missing inside, and now the count runs full, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
It was a good pitch there, but just a little bit low, maybe a little bit inside from Andrew Ryan, who's now gone. He's pitched very well so far here in this game. After a little shaky third inning.
The 3-2 pitch is sent past the diving shortstop Ben Baird and into left field for a base hit. What an effort by Baird. He barely missed it. And a 2-out single for Hampton.
Now batting for Hyannis.
Well, before that,
From Rice University, number 4, Ford Proctor.
Before that, Andrew Ryan had retired, I believe it was 9 straight batters. So he had settled in after coming in relief for Mason Fioli, who was knocked out of this game after 2 innings. And he's provided good relief out of the bullpen, which was what you needed.
Ford Proctor takes strike 1.
It's really what you need after your starter gets knocked out early like that, is you need that bullpen. You need that second guy to come in and get at least 2 or 3 innings out of here. And he's done more than that. This is his 4th inning now. Or excuse me, this is his 5th inning now.
Ryan will check back the runner at first. Hampton dives back safely.
This is his 5th inning now, and that was the first hit Andrew Ryan has given up today.
No balls and 1 strike, 2 outs. Hyannis up 3-0 here in the bottom of the 6th. The runner goes, and the throw down to second base whizzes into center field. Going to third now is Hampton, and Hampton finds himself going from first to third. Noth, the throw was a little bit low, and Baird couldn't handle it at short.
And you would have liked to see the second baseman, Robbie Metz, there backing up a little bit further behind the base so he could cut down the angle a little bit. It was a little bit too close to the bag, so he didn't have much time to react after Baird missed that at second base at the shortstop position. But Metz also missing it as the backup. That's how that ball rolls into center field.
So the count to Proctor, 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. And now a runner 90 feet away. And Reese Hampton. Ryan's 1-1. Outside, 2-1.
Another one of those pitches just off the outside corner that the umpire, Tom Carey, is not giving today. Two balls and 1 strike with 2 outs.
Hyannis looking for their 4th run. They're up 3-0. And that one outside. So now a nice hitter's count here for Ford Proctor, 3 balls and 1 strike.
We talked about Andrew Ryan had a great first 4 innings to his outing, and now all of a sudden a stolen base, and then the ball rolls into center field, and you got a guy in third. But still 2 outs here in the 6th inning, a chance for Ryan to recover.
Ryan's 3-1. That is sent out to right field, shallow right field. Coming in is Shatted. He'll make the catch. He'll retire Proctor, and that'll end the inning. So 1 runner stranded for Hyannis. 1 hit, no runs, and no errors. And we're through 6. It is 3-0 for Hyannis on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgentcare. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgentcare.
The Down East Lobster Roll combos are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Wareham still trailing it 3-0 as we find ourselves in the top of the 7th. Couple changes here for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Cole Murphy is in at first base. And now a new pitcher on the hill. Michael Bertel leaves after going 2 innings, giving up 1 hit, no earned runs, no walks, and a strikeout. It's Ethan Larison.
And Ethan Larison coming to the Cape Cod League from Indiana State University in Terre Haute, Indiana. Is also an Indiana native, and he's the senior, excuse me.
It's tough to remember that, isn't it?
When you look at the year,
exactly.
It's hard to tell which year they actually are. Probably should be right in the actual year. He's the only Indiana State pitcher in the Cape League, only Indiana State player in the Cape League this year. And this year went 3-2 with a 3.13 ERA and never gave up a single home run. Also 32 strikeouts to just 13 walks in 31.2 innings pitched. And he's a bullpen pitcher, and you rarely see this guy go over an inning or two, so you probably won't see Larison finishing off this game unless he can really shut down the Gatemen lineup, which hasn't gotten much going today.
Kyle Noth will get his second plate appearance of the day. Flew out to left field his first time up back in the 4th. He'll be facing Larison here.
What's tough about Larison as well is he has 3 off-speed pitches, a changeup, a curveball, and a slider, which are all about the same speed.
Larison's first pitch inside, ball 1-0.
Showing that fastball on that first pitch, so we'll see which of the off-speed pitches is his go-to as he works into this 7th inning.
His Hyannis team up 3-0. That ball low and inside as well. 2 balls, no strikes to the batter, Kyle Noth.
This can be a tough situation for a guy like Larison coming in late in the game. The 2 pitchers before you were just locked in, and you feel the pressure now in a 3-0 game with the lead.
2 balls and no strikes. Noth awaiting the pitch. Here it comes, swinging, and it's chopped down the first baseline. Murphy comes in. All he has to do is step on first as that ball squibbed all the way to the bag.
He actually didn't even need to step on first. He was already on first and just needed to get the ball. The ball was just rolling to him. He was waiting for it on first.
So Murphy retires Noth for the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up Blake Sable, the first baseman. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Flew out to right field to end the 4th inning, his last time up.
That's now 9 of the last 10 Gatemen, or excuse me, 10 of the last 11 Gatemen that have been retired.
Fastball away for ball 1-0.
And if it wasn't for those 2 hits back in the 3rd inning, there really wouldn't be much at all to this Gatemen scorecard today. Just a lot of flyouts, a lot of groundouts, not a lot of strikeouts.
The 1-0 to Sable.
Yeah,
outside 2-0.
Just 2 strikeouts today, one by Baird, one by Angelini. They're making contact. They're just not finding the holes. They're popping the ball up a lot, getting under it. Like I said, might take some adjustments to the Wood Bat League, as we're seeing Hyannis players as well struggling to hit the ball later in this game. Just 1 good inning for them.
Sable awaits the 2-0 from Larison and takes a strike, 2-1. This Hyannis team was 4th in the West Division last year. 17-27. They finished the season with an 8-game losing streak. 1-9 in their last 10. 2-1 from Larison in the dirt. 3-1, and that really actually doesn't matter for this year because it's a totally new roster except for Fort Proctor.
So yeah, I mean, it's basically what it usually is for this Cape Cod League. That's the beauty of it. You don't have those dynasties like the Golden State Warriors just dominating everyone. You have a new blank slate every single year.
The 3-1 coming from Larison, in for a strike, 3 balls and 2 strikes. You don't have the dynasty usually, but there has been some sort of a dynasty with YD winning 3 straight championships.
Absolutely, and it's pretty incredible because YD, in these past years, they haven't even really been the best regular season team. They've just kind of come into the playoffs storming in and have just done really well for themselves in the postseason. As Blake Sable
waiting the 3-2 pitch with 1 out in the top of the 7th. Still a 3-0 ball game. That one swung to the shortstop, Frank. He'll throw to first, and outrunning it was Sable. Nicely done by the first baseman, Blake Sable. He runs out the infield single.
Yeah, impressive stuff there. Like we said, Blake Sable, 26 stolen bases at USC this year, and he is a catcher. So Blake Sable showing off that speed, and that was a routine play at short. You would have liked to see Frank at shortstop make a more urgent play over there to first, but good hustle there by Blake Sable.
So now Sable at first. Robbie Metz is the batter. Metz first pitch swinging, slices one foul, out of play. Metz grounded out to third base to end the second inning and then flew out to second base in the fifth.
You know, he might only be on first base, but that base runner is big, especially with a guy like Robbie Metz at bat. He understands how big it is to have that guy on first, down by 3 runs.
Now check Sable. The ball gets away from the first baseman. Sable heading for second. He's thinking 3. He's going to go all the way to third base, and he's going to stand there as Sable goes from first to third. Larison tried to check him over at first with Cole Murphy, and Murphy couldn't handle the baseball.
It was a low throw by Larison over there to first. I mean, of course Stallings had a chance, Murphy, the substitute of Stallings. Murphy had a chance, but I think that error is going to go to the pitcher on the pickoff attempt, Ethan Larison, as that ball was in the dirt.
This is the first batter.
It's not. It's the second batter to reach third base. John Topa back in the third inning reached third base on the E6 that got Brandon Lockridge to first for his second time.
Swung on and fouled back, quickly 0-2.
But now, with a runner on third, Ethan Larison working with an 0-2 count. That's big for him.
So no balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. Sable at third. The Gatemen still trail at 3-0 here in the top of the 7th.
Fly ball scores a run.
The 0-2 swung on and missed. Robbie Metz was fooled. He went to chase the fastball out and away. He goes down for the second out of the inning.
I was saying a fly ball scores a run because with the way Blake Sable is running around the bases, there's no way an outfielder is catching him on a sacrifice fly attempt. But now there's 2 outs, so the sac fly no longer in play. Got to score that runner with a hit, and it's going to be Andy Shatted.
Shatted the batter. 1 for 2 on the day. He's singled, and he's flown out to right field. Takes a breaking ball for a ball. Shatted out of Bradley. Played 51 games and started all of them. Average was low at .231. Did have 4 homers and 29 runs batted in.
Shatted had a really good summer last year with the Hayes Larks of the Jayhawk League in Kansas.
1-0 in the dirt. 2 balls and no strikes.
Hayes, Kansas, out just off I-70, about an hour and a half from the Colorado line. It's really far out there. The Jayhawk League players traveling all over the state of Kansas for the summer. Cape Cod might be a bit of a more enticing location for Andy Shaded.
The 2-0 in the dirt, bouncing again. Now 3 balls and no strikes. Shatted had an issue with striking out at Bradley. He struck out 46 times, only walked 13. But he did have a good year other than that. 2017 All-Missouri Valley Conference. He's a Louisville Slugger back in 2016.
This is a guy who was a catcher out of high school, but then was turned into an outfielder because of that speed. He covers so much ground out there in right.
The 3-0 pitch, taken for a strike. He's got a nice hitter's count. Andy Shatted, 3 balls and 1 strike.
But you do know that he can catch potentially, so in case the Gatemen lose all 4 of their catchers, you have Andy Shatted.
Still 3-0 in favor of Hyannis. The 3-1 pitch. Outside, ball 4, and Shatted will find himself going down to first for the second time today. So now runners at the corners. Sable's at third. Shatted at first. That'll bring up John Topa out of UConn.
Number 14, John Topa.
Topa singled back in the third and lined out to end the inning in the 5th.
Topa one of the only batters who really made like a solid contact hit today. Had that grounder down the line.
2 outs, and Topa takes the ball, 1-0. 4 hits for Wareham and 2 errors. Gives them no runs. Hyannis has 3. They're up 3-0. They've got 5 hits. Also 2 errors. Topa's got runners at the corners with 2 outs and a 1-0 count. Here comes the pitch. Pops one foul above our heads and way out of play. 1-1 the count.
Once again, Ethan Larison, who's coming here in relief for a Hyannis Harbor Hawks team whose pitching staff has just dominated the Gatemen lineup today. Now has 2 men on. This is actually only the second time today that the Gatemen have had 2 runners on base. And he's in a position where if he doesn't get this guy out, you might want to...
1-1, breaking ball in the dirt, 2-1.
You might want to get some guys warmed up in the bullpen for Hyannis. You got plenty of guys, plenty of arms. First game of the season. But like I said, Ethan Larison's a 1 or 2 inning guy. And right now in this 1 inning, he's struggling a little bit with a single and a walk given up.
Larison's 2-1 pitch. A little bit low for a strike. Now it's 3 balls and 1 strike to John Topa with 2 outs. In the top of the 7th with Hyannis leading it 3-0. Wareham's first run 90 feet away in Blake Sable. And now John Topa draws the walk and the bases are loaded.
Good patient at bat there by Topa, trying to force Ethan Larison to throw strikes, which he has not done too well in these last few batters. Now it's consecutive walks to Shadid and Topa, and now a big spot for Ben Baird, who's 0 for 2.
Yeah, Baird grounded out to the shortstop back in the 3rd and then struck out looking in the 6th. But it's actually going to be a pinch hitter here for the Gatemen. Or rather, a pitching change perhaps for Hyannis.
And no one warming up in the bullpen for Hyannis, but we'll see what their head coach or their pitching coach has in mind.
Yeah, that's not Chad Gassman on the hill. It's their pitching coach. Another note from the MLB draft, Rylan Bannon out of Xavier, the Big East Player of the Year. He was drafted in the 8th round by the Dodgers. 250th overall. He's supposed to come to Wareham.
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm not breaking any news or anything. But
of course, Gatemen fans are hoping that Rylan Bannon decides to defer till next year, but he's a talented middle infielder from Xavier. Was the American Athletic, the Big East Player of the Year. I really get those two conferences confused quite a bit. They should change the name of the Big East to the Catholic 8 or the Catholic 7 with those Jesuit schools.
That's a good idea.
Because it's not like the old Big East.
You should send that in. Baird takes a strike on the outside part, 0-1.
Because it still is the Big East, but it's really not the Big East. There's no UConn.
Blake Sable at 3rd, Andy Shadid at 2nd, and John Topa at 1st. With Ben Baird, the shortstop, he's 0 for 2 on the day at the plate. Wareham looking for its first run. They find themselves down 3-0 here in the top of the 7th. Baird swings and slices one foul out of play, 0-2. And talking to Don Snedden at the fundraiser yesterday, he came up to me and the beat writer Matt Feld, and he said, "Can any of you guys play third base? Because we'd love to have another third baseman," because he found out Bannon got drafted.
Well, we have a catcher at third base today, Willie McIver, so I guess Coach Snedden decided that a catcher would be better fit at third than a broadcaster.
The 0-2 pitch to Baird outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. I played center field in Little League. That's as far as I got.
Yeah, I played right because that's where they just stick out the kids who don't succeed. So
it's okay, you're a star.
Yeah,
in my mind.
But Ben Baird.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Baird with 2 outs and the bases juiced. Breaking ball, called strike 3. Baird didn't like it. He thought it was inside. And he'll leave the bases loaded as Baird goes down looking to end the inning. So 1 hit, 1 error, and 3 men left on base, but the Gatemen still don't have a run. They trail at 3-0. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
since 1991, holds over 600 events nationwide for players ages 8 through 18, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, plus 400 have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Cape Cod Healthcare now offers Cape Cod residents and visitors convenient urgent medical care by emergency room trained physicians at the Fontaine Outpatient Center in Harwich and the Stoneman Outpatient Center in Sandwich. For sore throats and coughs, x-rays and splinting, suturing of lacerations, and much, much more, come to the Stoneman Outpatient Center at 2 Jan Sebastian Drive, just off of Exit 2 in Sandwich, or the Fontaine Outpatient Center at 525 Long Pond Drive, just off Exit 11 in Harwich. Both have extended evening and weekend hours, and both centers are staffed by emergency room physicians. No appointment or referral is necessary. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Bottom half of the 7th inning, we've got a new pitcher on the hill for the Gatemen as they trail it 3-0. It'll be Noah Zavalis out of Harvard.
Yeah, Zavalis coming in from Acton, Massachusetts, one of the local boys. Usually a deep inning pitcher, but he's come around to the bullpen here.
Tyler Frank swings on the first pitch and lines one to the center fielder, Nick Angelini. So 1 pitch and 1 out here for Noah Zavalis.
Yeah, he's usually a deep inning pitcher, but like we said, he's coming out of the bullpen here in the 7th inning. Struggled a bit at Harvard with an opposing batting average of .338, but is able to command the strike zone, 41 strikeouts to 15 walks this year as Donovan steps in.
Takes a ball inside, 1-0. That was a team best strikeout to walk ratio, 2.73 at Harvard. He's 5'11", 210-pound right-handed pitcher on the mound. Takes a ball again, 2-0. Donovan the batter. He's a third baseman for the Harbor Hawks.
We've mentioned how good of a hitter Brendan Donovan is. Stuck him in the cleanup spot today.
Swing and a miss, 2 balls and 1 strike.
But Donovan is a guy who had 9 home runs this year at South Alabama, can really whack the ball. A total of 26 extra base hits.
2-1 sliced foul over these seats down the left field line. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And back to the OPS stat that we talked about earlier in this game, Brendan Donovan's OPS was over that coveted 1,000 mark. That really just shows a player's ability to hit for power and get on base at the same time.
So Wallace is 2-2, sent to Metz at second on the ground. Quick throw to first, and 2 quick outs here in the 7th. And you talk about Zavalis, he actually was with the Gatemen last year for 2 appearances. Went 1-0, didn't let up a run, went 6 2/3 innings, had a strikeout, had a walk. He pitched against Falmouth on July 29th and at Bourne August 2nd. In that Bourne game he pitched 4 2/3 innings. Ryan Olenek now the batter, the left fielder steps in, checks his swing on a breaking ball. Did he go? Mike Griffin says no down at first base. He's ahead in the count, 0-1.
Zavalis getting 2 quick outs. That's big for a late inning pitcher. Down by 3 runs especially. Can't afford to go down by any more.
1-0, checks his swing. Did he go? Griffin says he did. So now 1 ball and 1 strike.
Olenek wants that one back. Could have had a 2-0 count, but went fishing for that one as it bounced on home plate.
Scoreboard still hasn't, now it's updated. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 outs here in a 3-0 game in favor of the Harbor Hawks. Maybe a broken bat out to shallow center field. Coming in is Angelini. He makes the grab to end the inning. So no runs on no hits and no errors, but the Gatemen still trail at 3-0 to the Harbor Hawks. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Now we'll send it over to Connor Federico. Connor?
Thank you very much, Jacob. As we said before, it's a beautiful night for baseball, and there's plenty of good baseball games going on tonight around the Cape Cod Baseball League. In Bourne, Katuitt and the Braves, they're tied up at 3 apiece, each team getting 2 runs and a run each in the 6th inning to make this one tied. That one is in the top of the 7th. In Falmouth, the Chatham Anglers have continued on their run-scoring surge. They have 8 runs now. They lead the Commodores 8-2 as that group of bats has been putting it together. 2 RBIs for 2 players. It's been Jacob Olson and Michael Coppins. Moving over to Harwich, this game is tied 2-2 between the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox and the Mariners. We've had a couple of RBI groundouts in this game to make it tied. That one is in the top of the 6th. Each team has 2 runs. And moving over to Orleans, the Brewster Whitecaps have a 4-0 lead. The only home run of the Cape Cod League baseball season so far belongs to Michael Gasper of the Brewster Whitecaps. He hit that one in Orleans. That game's in the top of the 6th. Now back to more action between the Gatemen and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Here's Jacob and Sam.
Thank you, Connor. Connor, wanted to ask you real quick, how is Preston Grand Prix doing with the Orleans Firebirds so far? Has he went up to bat yet?
Let's see. Orleans Grand Prix. He's 0-for-2 on the day.
He's 0-for-2. The former Gateman played back in 2015 and 2016. He's 0-for-2 with the Firebirds. Thanks, Connor.
Draftee.
The draftee as well. New pitcher here for Wareham.
Like so. Okay. Christian Tripp is the pitcher for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks.
First pitch swinging. And maybe off the ankle of Brandon Lockridge as he takes a walk to walk it off.
Tripp, the righty out of the University of New Mexico, is a Texas native. Has a curveball, fastball, changeup arsenal. Number 33 for their Harbor Hawks went 0-3 with a 5.14 ERA this year with the New Mexico Lobos, but had a team-high 23 appearances. So kind of the workhorse for that Lobos staff. More of a 1-inning guy, 28 innings and 23 appearances.
So he faces Brandon Lockridge, the leadoff hitter for the Gatemen. Swings and foul, tips it into the mitt of Proctor.
Also, Tripp played for one of my favorite names for a collegiate league team, the Eau Claire Express of the Northwoods League. 11 saves with that team last year.
No balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch. That one swung back and foul over our heads. We'll do it again. Again, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks leading it still 3-0. They got those 3 runs back in the 2nd. Ford Proctor credited with an RBI on the walk. Bases loaded walk, and then a 2 RBI double by Tyler Frank, the shortstop. Here comes the pitch. That one sent back foul as well. Still 0-2 the count for Lockridge.
Lockridge, as we've said, has been the most composed of this Gateman lineup today. Has a walk and a single, but also reached on an error back in the 3rd. So he's yet to be retired.
No balls and 2 strikes from Tripp. That ball in the dirt, spinning. 1 ball and 2 strikes as it came out of the mitt of Chris Proctor, who's still behind the plate for the Harbor Hawks.
And that's got to add a lot of confidence for a guy with a temporary contract like Lockridge to be sitting at 1-for-1 today, but also has reached 3 times. It's got to be good for a guy like him. Get that confidence up.
1-2, foul the way again. He's working the count right now.
Probably feels like he's an integral part of this team right now. I know we're only 1 game in, but late inning here in the first game of the season, big at-bat, every at-bat, huge for the Gatemen, down by 3 here. But Lockridge has a chance to lead it off once again.
And another one fouled back straight to the netting. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I don't think Lockridge liked something you said about him, Jacob. That one was right at you. Behind the plate here, a little bit towards the first baseline.
I will flinch. You will see me flinch. I get scared. I'm going to be honest here.
I mean, how can you not?
It's a pretty fast ball coming your way. Swing and a miss here from Lockridge. He goes down for the first out of the 8th inning. So the Gatemen, they've made the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row last year. They won more games than any other season since 2001. They lost to Bourne in 2 games. It was a devastating Game 2 against Bourne. They blew a 7-2 lead in the bottom of the ninth. And it was tough to watch.
Yeah, always a tough way to blow a 5-run lead in any game is really tough for a team, but especially in a playoff game like that. It's a really tough way to end your season.
Nick Angelini, the center fielder, takes ball 1. And getting word now that it's Garrett Zeck who's pinch hitting for Angelini.
Well, Garrett Zeck has that extra speed that he possesses out in center.
Zeck showing bunt, pulls it back and takes the ball.
And this is a guy who really can bunt for a hit pretty easily if he gets a clean one down. If he places it well, there's no way that the infielders are catching him over at first base, as the third baseman, Donovan, creeping a little bit towards the grass.
Zeck swings and hits one on the ground to Donovan at third. He plays on the grass, throws in time. Retires Zeck, 2 gone. And going back to last season for Wareham, they had 25 wins. 15 of them came via a 1-run lead. And then, of course, in the 2 playoff games they had 1-run leads in the bottom of the ninth at least, and they lost both games.
So, got to work on that late inning pitching, especially this year. And it looks like they'll have the resources to do that.
Yeah, a lot of pitchers on this staff as Willie McIver sets in with 2 outs, and it's still a 3-0 score. Hyannis over Wareham, and a swing and a miss from McIver, 0-1.
You know, you hope Cal State Fullerton does well, of course, in this College World Series, but adding an arm like Brett Canine to this Gatemen pitching staff, especially late innings like Canine can do.
Ball outside.
Although, did he start? I believe he started games for Wareham last year.
1-1 the count. Yeah, he started all of his games he appeared in. And it's funny, either Cal State Fullerton loses or wins. Oregon State either loses or wins. You're getting players either way if you're Wareham. That one taken for a strike, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nick Madrigal probably not coming. He's going with Team USA. That leaves Stephen Kwan and Jordan Britton for Oregon State to come here, and then obviously Brett Canine with Cal State Fullerton.
But, you know, Stephen Kwan will be a huge addition to this Gatemen lineup if he's...
McIver skips one to the backstop. Didn't even reach the catcher, Chris Proctor, and now the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
But yeah, Stephen Kwan, one of the most impressive young players in that Oregon State roster. Of course, every player on that Oregon State roster is just really good. Jordan Britton, that pitcher, one really talented pitcher, but barely got any playing time this year because of how good that pitching staff is.
2-2 is sent into left field on a rocket for a base hit. Rounding first is McIver. He'll stop there and take the 2-out single. Nice rip there from the third baseman out of Washington. So a 2-out single for McIver. And Wareham still looking for a couple other bodies to come in here. Of course, Brett Canine, Griffin Roberts, the closer out of Wake Forest. He's just straight filthy. Obviously, Wake Forest lost, so he'll be coming eventually.
We hope to see Griffin Roberts here. I mean, just adding those 2 arms alone will be huge for this Gatemen staff. But we've seen some temporary contract arms step up as well.
Kyle Knopf, the batter from the left side, takes ball 1, 1-0.
Knopf from Nichols State is a career .322 hitter, which is a really good average for a catcher. And we mentioned earlier his ability to find pitches. 18% of his at-bats resulted in walks.
Strike taken. The runner goes down to second base. McIver's safe. Nicely done by Willie McIver. He steals second. And now a runner in scoring position for the Gatemen with 2 outs as they trail it 3-0.
That was a big strike there by the pitcher, Tripp.
Now Tripp looking back at second base and McIver as McIver takes his lead. And Kyle Knopf, the batter, awaiting the 1-1 pitch with 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. That one skips and did it hit Knopf? Maybe it did. Yes, it did. So Kyle Knopf will scoot down to first base on a hit by pitch. You talk about guys that Wareham's waiting for. If Bannon doesn't go to the draft, or gets when he was drafted, he will come. Probably not. Griffin Roberts, Tristan Pompey out of Kentucky. That's one you want to see.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Tristan Pompey, one of the best players in the SEC this season. And there's a lot of good players in that Kentucky team, but a lot of players consider Tristan Pompey to be the best of the best on that Kentucky roster. And he's just another great outfielder that could be added to this Gatemen lineup.
Blake Sable now the batter with runners on first and second, 2 outs in the Wareham Gatemen trailing 3-0. Takes the ball outside 1-0. Jaron Duran out of Long Beach State.
You really hope to see him as well because he possesses a lot of speed, really, really good defensively. One of the best defensive players on this Gatemen roster, Jaron Duran. And hit .308 this year for Long Beach State as well.
1-0 taken by Sable in for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sable 1 for 3 today, singled back in the 7th. He's also flown out twice.
Sable is the tying run right now at the plate.
Tripp looking back, the runner at second. Sable checks his swing. He went. And now he's going to be down in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He was fooled on the breaking ball.
It's important for Sable to get back into this at bat. He did not like himself on that last pitch. Went around on that low breaking ball.
McIver at second. Knopf at first. 2 outs and a 1-2 pitch to Sable. He cranks one deep to right field. Going back is the right fielder Newstrom, and he makes the catch on the run to end the inning. That one had a little excitement in it, but the Gatemen still cannot score on 1 hit. No errors, no runs for the Gatemen. They still trail it 3-0. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Coca-Cola Bottling of Cape Cod thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap. Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all that they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Can the Gatemen score a run? They're down 3-0 in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Jacob Toby alongside Sam Corman, Claudia Chikamian, our sideline reporter.
Well, here in the bottom of the 8th, it's crucial that Noah Zavolis comes back in here and doesn't allow the Hyannis Harbor Hawks to add to that 3-0 lead. You need to, Gatemen only have 3 more outs to work with here as time is running down. And 3 runs is going to be already hard enough against a Hyannis pitching staff that seems to be pretty deep right now as they're shutting out this lineup.
Garrett Zek now in center field, subbing out Angelini. And now at the plate is Robert Newstrom. The right fielder will take a high heater for strike 1.
And it looks like Nick Sandlin is in the bullpen for Hyannis right now, who is that closer from Southern Miss, who made a great run.
Swung on and sent to the screen, quickly 0-2.
He made a great run this year, hosted the regional in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, but fell short to in-state rival Mississippi State coming out of that regional. but Nick Sandlin in the bullpen, a dominant closer for Hyannis, probably going to be coming in the ninth.
The 0-2 pitch, framed by Noth, but just a bit outside. Zavalis missing. So Newstrom has a count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Again, we're here in the bottom half of the 8th inning at McKeon Park, with Wareham trailing the Harbor Hawks 3-0. That pitch swung and into right field through the first and second baseman, and in for a base hit for Newstrom. Newstrom on first, and that'll bring up Reed Leonard.
Number 10, Reed Leonard.
Newstrom has himself a 2-hit day for Hyannis. I believe he's the only player in this game. Excuse me, Reese Hampton, the center fielder, the leadoff hitter, also has 2 hits for Hyannis.
And there's going to be a pinch hitter. We'll try to get that in a moment.
Looks like Daniel Robinson.
It'll be Daniel Robinson coming in for Reed Leonard. Robinson, a sophomore at an ASA college, takes a first pitch strike on a heater, 0-1.
Number 19, Daniel Robinson.
Robinson, a left-handed hitter, 6'2", 214-pound sophomore. And he's got a runner in Newstrom at first base with no outs and his team up 3-0. They check over on Newstrom. He dives back safely at first.
And that base runner is very important for Wareham's defense right now. You got to keep a close eye on him. Can't let him advance the scoring position.
That one in for a ball. A 1 ball and 1 strike the count. With a runner on first base in Newstrom and no outs in the bottom of the 8th. The 1-1 is again a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike.
And was just inside by Zavolis.
Zavalis is 2-1. Up and away, 3-1.
So now Zavalis having some command issues here. After that single by Newstrom, a 3-1 count on the pinch hitter Daniel Robinson, who's come in here and has worked a pretty good at-bat so far for himself.
Hitter's count here for Robinson. The 3-1 is fouled off to the left and out of play. 3 balls and 2 strikes now. Before letting up a single to Robert Newstrom, Zavalis had retired 4 in a row. Came in the 6th inning in relief of Andrew Ryan.
And it was a good 3-1 pitch there by Zavalis.
The 3-2 sent to Robbie Metz at second. He'll flip to second for 1. On to first. They did not get the double play as Robinson ran it out. So the Gatemen do retire Newstrom at second for the first out of the inning. And now finding himself with a fielder's choice on first is Daniel Robinson. That'll bring up Cole Murphy, who struck out swinging his first time up.
Cincinnati, number 32, Cole Murphy.
And again, talking about the draft again, just mentioning the hometown team here in the state of Massachusetts, the Red Sox have a ton of Cape League players. Curveball missing by Zavalis, 1-0. Chris Sale, who is on the cover of the Cape League preview packet they give out, the media guide. He pitched for the Whitey Red Sox, and now he wears a Red Sox uniform for Boston. Zavalis the 1-0 with a runner on first. He goes, the pitch is up high, the throw down to second base. Not in time as Baird couldn't handle it in the glove. He would have got him on the tag, but he couldn't handle it in the glove. So now down to second base is Robinson.
That was a perfect pitch for Zavalis on that stolen base attempt. Up high, easy play for the catcher Noth to try to just catch it up high. Didn't have to get up out of his crouch, but still missed a bit on the throw, a little bit short.
Chris Sale, a Cape Leaguer, Mitch Moreland, Jackie Bradley Jr., who played for these Hyannis Harbor Hawks, Matt Barnes, Devin Marrero, and Tyler Thornburg. And last year in the World Series, there were 13 former Cape Leaguers. So this league is just all over Major League Baseball as that's taken for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike to count for Cole Murphy.
Now that runner in scoring position for Hyannis, very important that Wareham keeps him either at second or at third, does not let him to score this inning. can't go down by 4 going into the 9th against a really good pitching staff.
Zavalis is 2-1, is fouled off the catcher Noth in the box. Now the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We're assuming it's going to be Nick Sandlin coming in for Hyannis in the 9th, as I saw him up and stretching out there in the Hyannis bullpen. But we'll see. You never know what the coaching staff might draw up here for the team in blue and orange.
Hyannis up 3-0. Cole Murphy awaiting the 2-2. Swings and slaps it foul directly to the screen behind home plate. Do it again. Hyannis 3 runs on 6 hits, 2 errors. Wareham no runs on 5 hits and 2 errors. As Zavalis finds himself on the mound trying to keep Hyannis from scoring. He's got a 2-2 count with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Facing Cole Murphy, here comes the pitch. Murphy fouls it straight back again.
Zavalis in a spot where he's not too much pressure on him, of course. It's still a 3-0 game, but you really got to keep that runner at second or at third, of course. But
Zavalis is 2-2. Breaking ball in the dirt. Didn't chase. And now 3 balls and 2 strikes.
It seems that his command's a little bit worse than it was back in the 7th. He had that quick 1-2-3 inning that might have actually kind of not benefited him back in that inning because he just kind of blew through his pitches.
Zavalis is 3-2. Swung on and missed. Fastball fooled Murphy. That'll be 2 gone in the inning. Well, Murphy goes down swinging. Noth, the catcher, will go out to Zavalis and talk on the mound for a moment. And the catcher, Chris Proctor, the Duke Blue Devil, now will take to the plate with a runner in scoring position at second base.
Oh.
So 2 outs, 3-0 in favor of Hyannis. And Chris Proctor, who had 1 error all season at Duke, defensively is spectacular, now finds himself swinging and missing, 0-1.
Proctor's had himself a pretty decent day here today, as 1 for 2. With that walk back in the 3rd inning, came around to score in the 2nd.
Trying to drive in Hyannis' 4th run of the day. They lead it 3-0. Fastball taken up high, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Zavolis was just not finding his locations. That ball was not supposed to be high, as Kyle Noth was still crouched down for his spot there, but Zavolis threw that one up and away, missing his locations a lot more this inning than last inning.
Zavalis is 1-1, and he fooled Proctor there on a nice breaking ball, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That was probably the best pitch we've seen from him in this inning. That breaking ball started off at between the knees and the belt, and then fell down to the shin area for the hitter Chris Proctor, and he was going digging for that one. It was a little bit out in front as well, so a great breaking ball there from Zavalis, trying to get out of this inning unscathed.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Proctor awaiting the pitch. Here it comes, and grounded onto the second baseman, Robbie Metz. He'll throw on to first, and Proctor is retired. So Hyannis can't get a run. They got 1 hit, no errors. They still lead it 3-0. You're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The Wareham Gatemen and the visiting team, the Cape Cod Baseball League, and the NCAA promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation and positive support of the participants and officials. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from this ballpark. All-Star Game Weekend starts with a celebrity softball game on July 21st at McKeon Park in Hyannis. Come watch Jason Veritek, Bill Lee, Nancy Kerrigan, Scott Zolak, and other celebrities play ball in support of the Cape Cod Baseball League and Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital of Cape Cod. Gates open at 4 p.m. For more information and to buy tickets, go to allstarcapecod.org. That's allstarcapecod.org.
We head to the ninth, and Hyannis can close it out as they are up 3-0 on the Wareham Gatemen. Jacob Toby alongside Sam Corman, Claudia Chikamian on hand as well. Christian Tripp still on the mound to close it out, looking for the first save of the 2017 Cape League season.
Yeah, and Christian Tripp had a little bit of a tough time in the last inning. Gave up a hit as well as he hit a batter, but the big arm, the tall frame Christian Tripp at 6'7" from the University of New Mexico. Every pitcher on this Hyannis roster is a junior except for Ethan Larison, who we saw earlier. He's going to be a senior next year.
Tripp will pitch to Robbie Metz, and Metz fouls one straight over our heads behind home plate. 0-1.
This is the guy you want to have leading off this inning, is your experience. Here in the ninth, you need a leadoff hit big time. And Robbie Metz is the guy to deliver it.
Tripp's 0-1, swung on and missed, 0-2.
Really good breaking ball from Tripp there. That slider started out over the middle of the plate and got fooled Metz as that slider moved out towards the outside part of the plate.
The 0-2 from Tripp sent our way. See, I flinched there. Watch out. 0-2.
And that was a great fastball by Tripp and a great job by Robbie Metz to get contact on that ball, staying alive in the count, pushing it out foul, a little bit late on it, but was able to extend this at bat.
The 0-2. Metz not chasing. 1 ball and 2 strike. He did strike out his last time back in the 7th.
And once again, a great eye there by Robbie Metz. That was that slider once again going from the middle of the plate to the outside of the plate. Last time he swung.
That one in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
But Metz showing his great plate awareness right now. Was in an 0-2 count, fouled that pitch off, and now has worked back to a 2-2 count. We'll see if he can.
2-2 to Metz. He's popped up into shallow left field. Shortstop Tyler Frank under it and retires Metz for the first out of the ninth. So 1 gone, and he shattered the right fielder out of Bradley will come up. He is 1 for 2 on the day. He singled in the 3rd, flew out in the 5th, and walked in the 7th.
Right fielder from Bradley, number 7, Andrew Shadid.
Shadid awaiting the pitch from Tripp. And a big cut on a fastball. 0-1.
Shadid, a Louisville Slugger freshman All-America at Bradley. He's a Peoria, Illinois native out on the Mississippi River.
The 0-1 is chopped to the 3rd baseman Donovan. Takes 2 steps, throws to first, retires Shadid. And there are quickly 2 outs here in the 9th. The one thing I've noticed about you, Sam, so far, your geography is spectacular.
Well, going to school in Missouri, I've seen quite a bit of states, so.
See, I've never been past New York. I've been to Europe, but I've never been past New York.
That's really interesting. So, yeah, I mean, American geography, I guess, but once you leave this continent, even Canada, I'm pretty spectacular at, but once you leave the continent, you're probably a lot better.
Ball 1 to John Topa. He is 1 for 2 on the day, singled in the 3rd, lined out to end the inning in the 5th, and then walked back in the 7th. And he's the Gatemen's last hope as they're down 3-0 in the top of the 9th. He takes a strike, 1-1.
Tripp just blew that fastball by Topa. kind of trying to get a feel for this pitcher here with a big important spot down to their final out. And a 1-1 count here.
1-1, check swing, was called a strike anyway, doesn't matter. And now Wareham down to its last strike. They trail it 3-0.
And that breaking ball by Tripp, once again, really good. That one moved from the inside part of the plate out towards the middle. And Topa checked his swing.
The 1-2 pitch. Called strike 3 on John Topa. And that will do it here at McKeon Park. The Wareham Gatemen can't get a run on the board. They ultimately fall 3-0 to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. And John Topa goes down the bottom of the ninth, or rather the top of the ninth. Metz flew out, Shaddy grounded out, and John Topa struck out. So Wareham cannot get any runs. They had 5 hits on 2 errors. Hyannis, they get 3 runs. That's all they needed. That came back in the 3rd inning. Ford Proctor walked, and that drew in a run. And then Tyler Frank, a 2 RBI double to get 3 runs for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. They had 2 errors as well on 6 hits. That gave them the 3 runs. And some pitching numbers here for each team. First for the Gatemen, Mason Fioli, he really struggled in this game. 2 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Andrew Ryan came in, kind of saved the day a little bit. 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned on 1 walk and 3 Ks. And then Noah Zavalis, the Harvard product, comes in, pitches 2 innings, lets up a hit, no earned runs, no walks, no Ks. And then on the Hyannis side is Ryan Weiss. He started off the day 4 innings, very strong, 2 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk and 1 K. Brettel comes in, throws 2 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, no walk, 1 strikeout. Larison comes in, 1 inning with 1 hit, no earned runs, 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. And then Tripp comes on for the save. He gets 1 inning, 1 hit, no walks, and a strikeout. And now, your player of the game.
Well, first of all, Christian Tripp with that 2-inning performance and the save. Pretty impressive stuff there in those last 2 innings by Christian Tripp. My player of the game for the Gatemen in this tough loss has to be a pitcher, obviously, because no runs across the board. Andrew Ryan, the right-hander out of UMass Lowell, did a great job today coming in relief for Mason Fioli. When your starter struggles as much as he did, you really need that second pitcher to go at least 2 or 3 more innings, and he did further than that. He went 5 strong, I believe, for Wareham, and had the command on those fastballs, the slider, and the changeup. And Andrew Ryan, the UMass Lowell product, proving that he could be a force out of the bullpen for Wareham all season. If they can get that kind of production out of him this year, the later innings will be in good hands for the Gatemen.
So final thoughts is Wareham loses its first game 3-0. This by no means shows much of what's going to happen in the regular season. There are a lot of things that will change. Players will come in and players will leave here, as obviously we've seen a lot of that already in the preseason. But just final thoughts on the game overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one game, of course, but the Gatemen bats got to come alive here. Only 5 hits today for Wareham. No multi-hit games across the board, but you'd like to see more from that middle of the lineup. McIver, Anchia, Sable, all didn't really pick. The bats in general didn't really pick up today. A lot of ground outs late in the game. Early on in the game, we had a lot of flyouts, just weren't finding the gaps. But I think if Wareham can put the bats together, they'll be in great shape because their pitching staff looks pretty impressive. Fioli struggled a little bit, but that's okay. He's a great pitcher. He'll probably come back and throw great the next game.
All right, so again, the Wareham Gatemen, they lose it 3-0 to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. The Gatemen fall to 1-0. And the Harbor Hawks go to 1-0. Thank you for listening to this broadcast of Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. The general manager of the Wareham Gatemen is Andrew Lang. The producers of today's broadcast are my man, Matthew Weasel. You know what? We call you Weasel, and we're going to keep it that way. Weasel for right now. He didn't tell me his pronunciation, so we got to work on that. And Nick Verasani. Our sideline reporter is Claudia Chikami. Thanks to our writer, Matt Feld, and today's host, Connor Federico. The next broadcast of the Wareham Gatemen Baseball will be tomorrow as the Gatemen visit the Harwich Mariners. The game starts at 6:30. Our coverage begins at 6 p.m. with Gatemen Pregame Live, presented by South Coast Health. So for Sam Corman, I'm Jacob Toby. Thanks for tuning in to this presentation of Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Cape Cod and Wareham Gatemen Baseball Network.